Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Let's get our heads right. On a Monday morning, a victory Monday, if you will, the Aztecs finally with that laugher that we've been waiting for. If you're an Aztec fan, you were waiting for that laugher. If you like to bet on the Aztecs, you were waiting on that laugher as well. I think that's the first game they've covered since 1987, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's how it feels for me. But congratulations to the Aztecs. We will get into that game very, very soon. Somebody said barn in the woods. What does that mean? Is that a bat in a cave? Somebody have a booger? It's my biggest fear of being on YouTube. Does barn in the woods mean bat in the cave?
Bat in the cave means you've got something in your nose.
Yeah. You heard that before?
I've heard that one.
I just taught
don't know what a barn in the woods is. I know your woods.
Ben in the woods?
Barn in the woods. Barn in the woods. Bat in the cave, I just taught my 6-year-old about.
I think a fun game for the YouTube chat crew would be just randomly write things to see if you can spin Woods out because he doesn't know what they mean, and then he'll spend a bunch of time going, what does that mean?
Barn in the woods. I thought it was like, oh, God, do I have a booger? It's you're on camera. You ever have a booger on TV? We'll get to that in a second. Because there's a lot to ask. Ben's been on TV a long time. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer of this program. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Is that something that you do like every single time before you hit the camera is like the old...
You would think.
And you don't do it?
I do a quick check. There's a mirror I walk by as I go into the studio, like a last little check, and I'll usually do a quick once-over.
The old neck back, open your mouth?
It's pretty perfunctory. Like, I'm not going through every teeth to make sure there's not a green thing. I mean, I don't usually eat before I go on the air just for that reason. But I must say, I haven't checked that closely, so it's possible that I've gone on the air with a booger. A booger.
Booger is one of the greatest words of all time.
A little eye gunk or something.
Eye gunk is fine. Somebody, you got a little something here or there.
But big piece of spinach in your teeth.
But going on television with a visible booger, you would have to move. Like you'd have to pack your car and move in the middle of the night.
Just like anything in life. The first, 5 to 10 years, absolutely obsessed.
Terrified.
Every second I went on television. Now that I've been on TV for 20 years, all of a sudden, you just start kind of dragging yourself out there and go, well, you know what happens. If I've got one, I've got one. It's not the end of the world.
Ben goes out there, he's like, anyway, the Aztecs, hang on, kicked ass tonight. They look so good.
It's not that I don't care. It's just that, I don't care as much about me. The sports, I still care about tremendously.
Oh, we know. Man, what a great! I had a great weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend. What did you guys do? Anything exciting? I know you both went to the Peter Seidler Memorial. Mm-hmm. I want to get into that today. I want to play some of the audio because again, I didn't go. I was coaching T-ball and it was awesome. But I felt I don't want to say FOMO. You don't want to say FOMO on a memorial service, right? But I wanted.
You would have liked to have been there.
I would have liked to have been there, yeah, for sure. And I don't regret my decision at all. But I purposefully, as I will do from time to time, I know that I could have gone back and watched it. I wanted to wait till today. I wanted to hear the reactions live on the radio. It's really my favorite part of the job is reacting to things I haven't heard or seen yet. So.
Yeah, it was as I expected. The tributes were touching and all the speakers were great. What surprised me, and we can talk about this, is how transformative it made me feel about not just Peter. I knew how much, I felt about Peter, but some of the speakers that they came off so well with what they said. In particular, Eric Kutsenda, AJ Preller going,
yes.
Wow, I've come away with a newfound appreciation and respect for a couple of guys based on what they had to say about Peter Seidler.
It's interesting too because some of the I'll say, to be nice, I'll say some of the harshest critics that I've seen in the small, vocal scene that is Twitter, they said, damn it. All right. I'm going to give these guys about a 72-hour window, and I'm going to be right back on you. I mean, apparently they knocked it out of the park, so I'm looking forward to hearing that as well. And I heard Don Orsillo, like,
was awesome.
Right when he started, I heard he got choked up.
He didn't make it very long at all.
I can't even imagine,
hear
dude.
it in the voice. He was fighting it down.
Yeah. It rarely happens to me when I'm doing PA, but there was we do a thing now because we're Rady's is one of our partners, Rady Children's Hospitals, when I'm doing SEALs games. And when we do the honorary player of the game, I read like this long read about a kid that has overcome cancer, and this one, it was as close as I got on Saturday night because I was thinking about everything with Peter, and I read this thing, and this kid had to be put in a medically induced coma. He had leukemia, and I'm like, I had to swallow it a little bit and just say, block it out and just read the words on the paper. So great respect to anybody that had the fortitude to get up there and talk about that, because it can't be easy. And all the people around too, you feel like everyone's looking at you. So I almost got on Saturday night too. I can't imagine what that was like, trying to eulogize a man like Peter Seidler.
Yeah, we'll get into it in detail during the show, and as you said, play some of the clips that Woods you missed, and I'm sure not everybody had a chance to see it. You have busy Saturdays and things going on, so we'll get into some of the comments on the program today. We actually turned it into a bit of a day since we're going all the way downtown. Shelley came with me and watched the ceremony, and then we went and watched her basketball team, Washington State, play at Bottle Rocket downtown as they took on Iowa State, and unfortunately her Cougs lost. And then we went to fancy dinner on Saturday night at a place on India Street that we've been going to for many years. And it's interesting because the woman who is one of the co-owners actually spoke before the dinner, and she said, when we opened this restaurant, I had one rule: no advertising whatsoever. She did not want word to get out. I'm going, that's a choice. That's a restaurant. But she said, no, I don't want to be. I want to be only word of mouth. So I'm not going to even say where we went, and out of respect to her. But we had a fantastic dinner on Saturday night, and it was really, really nice, and we enjoyed our time.
That's the anti-plugola.
That's the anti-plugola.
Yeah,
I'm trying to respect their wishes.
How do you do a reverse siren? I think it sounds the same as the regular plugola siren. I was waiting, like, Paulie, get your finger on the button.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Well, this is a good point D. George makes in the chat. Ben, that actually would be word of mouth.
Sort of.
Since she's not paying you to advertise.
No, but if I say it on the radio, that's different. That's telling everybody. And the point she made was, I don't want to displace our normal customers with a bunch of people who hear about us all at once and then go rushing to make a reservation. And I just want it to be, our place, our vision that we've had for a long time. If you want to contact me privately, and I will DM you, I will let you know what it's called. And then that will be word of mouth. Is that in reverse?
Reverse the plugola.
This is normal.
Yeah,
that's usual, Ben.
And then this is reverse.
Oh, yeah, I can hear it. Yeah. It's like one of those European sirens.
So stupid. Okay, I'm going to make a speech to the tier ones. I will want you to tell everybody to listen. Anybody that you know, you go out and tell them to listen to our radio program. And join our YouTube feed if you would. If you're watching on YouTube, just hit the subscribe button. Won't cost you a nickel. That would be great. We did get up over 5,000 subscribers, which was amazing. But that is great. That's great. So I've never heard of the anti plugola before, but that's exactly what it is.
If our chat is any indication, everyone is now dying to know where this place is.
Well, that's a pretty good way.
Maybe it's a genius strategy.
Let me tell you guys about this radio show that's going on right now.
Can't tell you the server. Bring a little extra bread, and we're gonna really.
Yeah.
You've seen plugola. You have no idea what's happening.
You don't know how good reverse plugola can be. This is anti-advertising here. Everyone's intrigued.
You validate parking.
Next level.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a little stamp on that bad boy. And I like creme brulee, please. It won't hurt you at all. That's nice. We did. We had. it's spring break starts for my 6-year-old. He's off to Daytona, so we'll see him in a couple weeks. He went down with his buddies and go to he's gonna go to the wet t-shirt contest and do all the fun Daytona spring break bits. Wouldn't surprise me actually, that little lunatic. But he's like, all right, I'm out. We're going to South Padre. See you later.
Paul had that story where they're actually discouraging people from spring breaking in Miami now.
They said no more.
Miami Beach is breaking up with spring break.
Yeah, so they it's spring break, a robust 2 weeks of spring break. So don't be surprised, gents, if your old pal Woods isn't hanging around much after the show. Not that we do anyway, but Hannah has a job. I got to get home. I gotta do this and then go home and find a way to entertain a 6-year-old that doesn't involve, here's your iPad, pal. Enjoy and rot your brain for 2 weeks. So yeah, going to be doing lots of activities and whatnot. And we are taking the little mini staycation, though, this week. We're going to go down and stay at a hotel for a couple nights. Hannah and I are. The night before opening day broadcast, and then the night after opening day, and then, which will be nice. I love Hotel Hannah is very, very fun. Very fun. And Margarita Hannah, and you mix those two together, should be a good week for your old pal in here.
And I'm sure she can get a margarita or two at Baja Rick's.
That's exactly
which is
right.
A good segue into our reminder that we're going to be broadcasting live this Thursday morning for the Padres home opener against the Giants. We'll be at Baja Rick's Cantina, located at the corner of 6th and L in the gas lamp. This is straight plug. Festivities kick off at 6 a.m. with our show, then Annie and Elston from 10 to noon. Going to give away tickets to the Padres-Cardinals game on April 2nd. Plus, there'll be Blue Moon, Coors Light, Topo Chico specials, Coors Light, Topo Chico specials, and breakfast served from 6 to 10 a.m. It's Thursday at Baja Rick's Cantina, corner of 6th and L in the gas lamp. Probably some margaritas, too. Brought to you by Blue Moon. Celebrate responsibly.
She cannot start. Margarita Hannah cannot start at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to last. It's not going to last at all. But the Margarita Hotel Hannah combo is pretty special. Very special. My wife turns into Jenna Jameson when we hit a hotel room for some reason, and I don't know why. I've actually thought about turning our room into a hotel room.
Little mint on the pillow.
I've never had a mint on a pillow, but I want to make it look like, a nice hotel, and then maybe
get one of those little tiny fridges.
Yeah, tiny little fridge. Yeah,
in the corner.
She really does.
Landline.
It's wild. Apparently, I'm like the sexiest man in the world when we walk into a hotel room. Any other time, she's like, oh God, blah, gross.
She loves
Get
the
housekeeping on speed dial.
Yeah, 100%. So
room service.
Let's put it this way: I'm looking way forward to this week, and I should be in a great mood on Thursday and Friday if I had to guess. But I'm really, really excited about this week. We have a huge week for the show. We have our 6-year anniversary coming up on Wednesday. We'll play some fun stuff. We're not going to go crazy with the self-pouching that day, just so you know. We still have other things that we need to cover. Yeah, man, we got opening day on Thursday. We've got a broadcast. It's going to be an elite week for the show and for the Tier 1s, and that's who we do it for. So thank you for being here this morning. And just an all-around phenomenal weekend I had, man. Got to do the Seals game on Saturday night, walk-off, sudden death overtime win.
Oh, yeah.
Bret Michaels played a show after. I got to bring him on stage. It was pretty much, I drove home, looking out the window going, how the hell did I get here? And it was just one of those cool feelings of gratitude that I try to remember to take in every chance I get, because I realize I am very, very lucky, and we are very lucky to get to do this every day. So, man, we got a big show planned for you today. Excited to get into the Aztecs game. It was perfect. It was elite. It was electric. It was all of the superlatives that you can think of. I wish every game was like that.
Aztecs to the Sweet 16.
Unbelievable.
We have the Peter Seidler memorial or celebration of life audio that we're going to get to, but I've got a first in Ben and Wood's history for a tease. I want to tease the traffic report that's coming up here, because Kelly Danick, if you weren't with us on Friday, she was crowned our 2024
Tournament
fifth annual
of
Tournament of Drops champion.
Has it gone to her head?
She texted me just now and said, giving you guys and your listeners a thank you this morning for the first traffic report. I hope that's okay. I didn't get a chance to officially thank all of the voters on Friday.
All right. Well, then let's get going.
I'm all in.
We'll come back. We'll hand out the menus. I think you kind of know what we're going to be having today on the show. But Kelly's traffic, I'm now eagerly anticipating coming up next year with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Take it away, Kelly.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Good morning, guys. I got to tell you, I am still basking in the afterglow of being picked by 62.9% of your listeners as winner of the 5th annual Tournament of Drops. That was such a fun conversation I had with you guys on Friday. Big thank you to your listeners. I am honored. Okay, we've got some slick roadways around various parts of the county, all due to some scattered showers. Looks like most of that rain has moved on for now, but yeah, give yourself a little extra time. Take it extra carefully out there. We do have a 2-vehicle accident northbound 5 just past Mile of Cars Way. Those cars are in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Aztecs, Padres. A little bit of Ohtani. That's kind of your menu for the show today because that remains a big story in Major League Baseball. And Shohei Ohtani yesterday, Woods, went into the clubhouse before the Dodgers and Angels played their exhibition game and said that he is going to speak to the media and answer some questions tomorrow, which is now today, when he arrives for another game that they have. He will.
So he was there.
He was there.
In front of his locker where he typically will address the media. The media was there.
Yes.
And he said, I'm going to wait 24 hours.
24 hours. And I don't know if that means he's going to be going through some coaching, some lawyers telling him what he should and should not say. I assume he has a new interpreter at this point. Not going to be Ippei Mizuhara.
That would be weird if he just showed up. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
I'm back.
So we should get at least a little more of Shohei Ohtani's part of this story later today. And coming up at 7:35 this morning, we're going to have our show Legal Mind. It's been a while since we've chatted with David Shapiro. He's a criminal defense lawyer and going to give us some perspective on what Shohei may or may not be facing, what Ippei may or may not be facing here in terms of legal ramifications for the major story, the gambling, the wire transfers, all of it that was that broke last week in Major League Baseball.
Sordid affair from our friends up north. Very, very sordid affair. We'll see how it plays out. Not expecting a lot from Shohei's camp today. I mean, why would you? From a guy that's been massively guarded since the minute he got in the league, why would you expect him today to come out and be completely open? And I'm not saying he won't be honest. I'm just saying I just don't know what to expect. I didn't see that he said he was going to be taking questions. I heard he will speak to the media.
Could so just be a prepared
statement.
Could it just be a prepared statement? I'm not sure.
It could be very well. We'll see. And no time frame on when that's going down. My guess is between 10 and 10:30 as soon as we are out the door.
Do they have a day game? Is that why it's going to be that early?
I don't know. No, that's just my guess. Since we get off the air at 10,
they'll
just
probably
that's do it at 10:05.
When news breaks.
Yeah.
Let's see. The schedule for the exhibition games today is not until 6 o'clock.
Oh,
so my guess
maybe
it'll
later.
probably be like 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon that he would be around his locker speaking to the media for a 6 o'clock game.
And Major League Baseball, really, I mean, look, if there's one thing that they are elite at, it's the Friday news dump. I mean, 5:57 on Friday, they dumped the news that they will be doing an investigation on Major League Baseball.
I
mean, you couldn't have timed it out better. That bad boy was sitting in drafts since noon. They're like, do not click send. Just wait till 5:57. We'll send it out. And that's what they did. And essentially the statement came out on Friday. Said Major League Baseball has been gathering information since we learned about the allegations involving Shohei Ohtani and Ippei Mizuhara from the news media. Earlier today, our Department of Investigations began their formal process investigating the matter. Does it surprise you that Shohei's going to speak now? And is there a chance that he just says, they're investigating, I'm going to wait, essentially, but I want you guys to know I'm innocent? Or there's a potential that he comes out and...
I guess there's a chance. I'm sure there's going to be unanswered questions still after today.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
But I also think there'll be at least some more clarity. His story, whatever it's going to be, is going to have to be fairly buttoned up by this afternoon if he's going to be talking. At the very least, hey, did you loan him the money? Did you give him the money? Did you steal the money?
Yeah.
We will have the final answer because he's not going to be able to take this one back. Once he says it himself in front of the media, he can't come back 24 hours and later, oh, what I really meant to say was this. So
it's already happened a couple of times from his camp.
It has happened from his camp, but never from him himself. Once he says it himself, he's kind of locked into whatever story he's going to be sticking to. So we'll talk about that at 7:35 with David Shapiro. Everything else, our normal features, Take on Woods, Don't Do This,
David
Reindl
also,
Report.
he reached out to me on Friday and just said there's been a lot of narratives out there about Shohei Ohtani, what punishments could he be facing. He goes, I would love to kind of set the record straight on what he really is facing.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Yeah. I want to be involved. I want to be informed on it. You know, and again, there was an opportunity, I think, this weekend to pile on with a couple of things that came out. And I don't know that I necessarily believe some of the things that came out. Did you guys see the tweet from Brandon Lang? Remember Brandon Lang? It was the subject of a really bad gambling movie. It was Matthew McConaughey and Al Pacino. Two for the money. That's a real guy. That was a real guy that existed. And he came out over the weekend with all these allegations. He's got a source that says, oh, no. Shohei is involved, and it's soccer, and it's $20 million. And I was like, I'm not going to pile on this dude right now. I want to see how this thing plays out. Because when somebody jumps on a podcast and says, I've got a source, all right, well, listen, then you need to talk to Major League Baseball. They're the ones doing the investigating right now. So that's what needs to happen. But I did see a lot of, it's still like the most trending topic on Twitter. He's the biggest star in the game and the second biggest market in the game. Of course, it's going to get a lot of play.
Of course, we've got the Aztecs, 2 games to discuss because Friday's game happened long after our show was done. Well, 45 minutes after our show was done. That was a much more tense game for San Diego State than last night.
Brutal.
Last night was surprisingly relaxing.
Like a joke. Like I went to sleep almost like 10 minutes after halftime.
It was a spa. Compared to most Aztec teams, it was like a spa.
It was like a spa day.
Oh,
yeah.
They're up 10-0 early. Never really threatened. There was no time that I felt like I wanted to just die because here comes the other team.
You never felt like they were going to get back in it.
Yeah,
it was too mismatched.
It was so incredibly nice for a change.
So great, dude.
San Diego State game like that.
I texted Ben earlier in the day. I go, they're beating the S out of Yale, right? And Ben goes, I think so. And I go, I really, I watched Yale play and I went, no, I don't get it. Like, we're going to.
It's more like, how did Auburn lose?
How did Auburn lose? I mean, they got to be. They got to be kicking
they're good
themselves.
passers. That big guy's good, but they never really seem to stand a chance against San Diego State yesterday. And how they beat Auburn, I've got no idea. I'd like to think that the way the Aztecs played last night.
That's why they call it March Madness.
Yeah, I'd like to think the way the Aztecs played last night, Auburn wouldn't have stood a chance against San Diego State making those kind of shots.
San Diego State shoots threes like that. And if they're going to be cutting down some nets
if
this
they
year.
play like that against UConn, as big of a favorite that everyone is making the UConn Huskies out to be, San Diego State absolutely could beat UConn playing like that.
The only person not making UConn a favorite is the head coach of UConn. Wait till we play you this audio. It's in Don't Do This. Dan Hurley doing the worst bit in sports. It's a long tease. We're about an hour away from Don't Do This, but it's worth it. It's that ridiculous when you hear it.
It is. I don't want to say it's shocking because every coach does it, but it's beyond belief that anyone could think that UConn is that team.
The gutty little
gritty
number 1 seeded UConn Huskies are 9.5-point favorites already on Thursday.
Right, but I do want to talk about the Peter Seidler Memorial, and I want to play some of this audio.
Yeah.
I know we got Padres fans galore in the audience, and if you didn't get out there, it was a truly special morning / early afternoon at Petco Park on Saturday, and we want to get to some of that audio. So we'll do that when we come back, and then more Aztecs talk. Do not go away. Lots to get to. Ben and Woods going until 10 o'clock this morning on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, if there was one sign that Peter Seidler was looking down on all of us on Saturday, it's the fact that the Padres had to kind of make some judgment calls and move up the ceremony. I mean, they looked at the weather forecast, and they still weren't sure. A lot of them said, man, maybe noon, it's going to start raining. They moved it up to 11. Speakers went a little bit long, and
boy, did they make the right choice.
And talked until around 1 o'clock or so. It was about 2 hours, and then everyone filed out. And just after it ended, it started pouring. So it was like the perfect timing. It was kind of, the sun came out for a few minutes.
They did like
ceremony.
A video tribute at the end after all of the speeches, and I could like hear thunder in the background. Like I knew it was coming down from the north. It's like, all right, they gotta clear this out here.
We got hit pretty good at T-ball, and as it's just never, that game is never fun when it just starts dumping rain. So ran back to the cars, but yeah, man, I got home, got changed up, and started seeing the tweets roll in, and kind of avoided everything again because I wanted to hear it on the air. I wanted to react live with the audience that hasn't gotten a chance to see or hear it.
We're gonna do that and play some of the audio from the Peter Seidler celebration.
Will I cry?
Life. You might.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. Shelly she's an easy to cry, but she said, but I'm not going to. When we arrived, she said, I mean, it's been a few months and this will be great, but this is the Padres. They put it all together. These are pro speakers. I'm not going to cry. Within 60 seconds, she is bawling.
I cry when other people
her
around
eyes
me
out.
are crying.
And I thought, you know me, I'm as heartless as anyone.
Fair.
I
true.
thought, there's no chance. There's no chance. By the time Don started choking up, and then Eric could
no joy in my life.
Choking up, then I'm like dabbing my eyes and started coming to.
So I would have been a wreck.
Oh, you would have been a wreck.
I would have sobbing just into my sweatshirt.
Yeah, you would have been an absolute wreck. We'll get into some of the emotional moments, the great stories, right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Starting to heat up on the roads a bit. Crash the clearing stage on northbound 5 past Mile of Carsway. Those cars are in the center divide. Also, collision on northbound 805 right before the 163. Couple vehicles involved, including a cement truck that is in the center divide. Also traveling on eastbound 78 just past Nordall Road. An accident blocking the fast lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Don Orsillo was the master of ceremonies, and
best.
of course, a great choice. Always does such a great job. He's a pro, and he can manage anything when he's on stage.
I'd like to see the two of you duke it out one day at some sort of round table, like a round table contest, like a rumble. That would be, for my money, I mean, I'm going to go with Ben here. I will.
I may meet my match when it comes to Don. He is.
He's so good.
He's such a pro. But part of being a pro is you can sort of detach yourself. And while others are being emotional, you are kind of the steady guy. That's usually kind of the job. And it's like, but once Don got up on the stage, and even he struggled to get through his opening comments, it kind of set the tone that this is how this is going to go today.
Soon after, I visited the Monarch School with a group of Padres. A young boy approached me, and he asked if I was with the Padres. And I replied that I was. He then proceeded to ask me where Peter was. And is he coming too? This was the very moment when I realized what kind of person and humanitarian Peter was. That this homeless boy had met Peter in the past, got to know Peter by name, and wanted to see him again. After Peter's passing, I communicated to both Tom and Sheil a message of my personal mission, which as long as I am the voice of the San Diego Padres, will be to never let anyone forget Peter's legacy, who he was, what he meant, and not only to the Padres and their fans, but all those people who live in San Diego. Great loss for us all.
Okay.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I'm toast.
Oh, man.
I am toast right now.
So Don starts introducing the speakers, and I think first up is Eric Consenda, or one of the very first speakers is Eric Consenda. Well, you can trust the money guy, right?
Yeah, right.
The business guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the one that's going to make us all cry, right? Right, Eric Consenda? This is the chairman of the San Diego Padres.
There is more to say than time permits,
And anyway, when measured against the eloquence of Peter's life, our words are very inadequate. And so I'll conclude these remarks with his words, spoken just last year. 1 year soon, the baseball gods will smile on the San Diego Padres, and we will have a parade.
Oh. I have a lump in my throat right now.
To which I reply, on behalf of all of us gathered here today, we rejoice, dear Peter, that you are now one of those baseball gods safely tucked into heaven. And we will do our part to fulfill your prophecy, knowing, in fact, that you are with us every step of the way.
Done. The voice crack will get me.
Oh, yeah.
It'll get me real good.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah, I mean, what an interesting position. We've talked about it since he, quote unquote, took over. Never was in a great position. I mean, that's a tough thing to be left with, right? Of, hey, I am basically a deity in San Diego. Everyone loves me. I'm not going to be around much longer. Enjoy. Take these shoes. I want you to put these on. I need you to fill these, and I'll see you guys around. I mean, it's such a crap position to be put in. We've probably been a little bit unfair to him. I think a lot of people have been.
It was interesting to note that on Saturday, Don, when introducing Eric Katsenda, he didn't give him the old interim control person. He said just Padres chairman. Eric Katsenda.
Yeah, no, I think there's, I don't want to read between the lines or anything, but no, man, I think that's the thing is I've been thinking about it since the announcement. Like, this guy was kind of right-hand man style for years with him, and this wasn't something that was casually thrown together at the last moment. So, look, it's tough, and this probably isn't the best time to go, well, I mean, they did cut payroll and this and that. They did. They absolutely did. But I do think I feel better after hearing some of these guys talk about maybe good. You can't reinforce that message enough that you are committed to winning. And now you've said it, and now you have to back it up.
Eric shed some insight onto the early years when he first joined Peter's Seidler Equity Partners Group, and said, I actually lived with Peter for a while in a house with no furniture in the LA area, except they had
a concert-ready drum kit
set
in the middle of the room.
It's so badass.
And he talked about how they were both runners, and their first marathon was and he laughed. He said the LA Marathon, boo, and it was just pouring and miserably cold. And they got to mile 23, and he said, and it was really close to Peter's house. And Peter said at that point, I think I'm just going to go home now.
He's like one of us.
And he did. And he did.
Yes.
He just
like me.
He just walked off the course.
Just like me,
and went
man.
home. And then a few months later, he came down and ran the Rock and Roll Marathon in San Diego, and he finished that one in good weather in 26.2 miles. And
the only difference is I would have made it 300 yards and turned tail and went home.
But it was a good insight into kind of a little more of who Eric is and what his relationship with Peter was and how genuine it was. So that's the first thing that kind of changed my perspective and outlook a little bit on the San Diego Padres. The second one, and you talk about guys that you do not expect to make you cry and get emotional. And at the top of that list is going to be the general manager of the San Diego Padres, the president of baseball operations, A.J. Preller. I was almost surprised that they even asked him to speak. Like, really? I mean, is AJ the guy for this? But he absolutely was, and he was close with Peter. Obviously, they spoke daily. And one of the best stories of the entire day was finally, after we have been asking for an entire, the last 6 months or beyond, about what happened last season and, what was going wrong. And to actually hear about the emotions inside the building last year of what they were like spinning out, like what is going wrong with this season. And the story that AJ told about him and Peter during the season last year as things weren't going well in the summer was very
One of the last times that I sat down with Peter was this past summer. You know, it was a difficult season. It was a year that I think me and Peter both thought would be the culmination of a lot of years of hard work. We were talking about our current team last year and what we needed to do to turn things around. Peter asked a lot of questions like he always did. He was very optimistic, and at the end he said, you know, I think this is going to turn around, and had his thoughts on why. And then he broke out this clear plastic bag, looked like it had a controlled substance in it. And he said, let's go light this on the field and smoke this up.
Let's spark this.
I thought, wow, that's pretty aggressive. I knew Peter might be a free spirit, but wasn't really sure what was going on. So I called Josh Stein, our assistant GM, who graduated from Cal Berkeley. I figured he might have some experience in this. And we got together down the right field line. Of course, me and Peter couldn't figure out how to light this sage up. So we had to call TJ Lasita, our traveling secretary, who, for those who know TJ, he gets everything done. And he just had a blowtorch in his back pocket or something and showed up and lit this sage on fire. And we carried this incense sage packet, the Olympic torch, from right field right to the pitcher's mound. And it was there that we spoke good things to our pitchers, spoke about some positive energy into the universe. We then went to home plate, where Shield joined us, took our shoes off, and said good things for our hitters and our bats to get our bats going. Lucky for all of us, the Chicago Cubs were coming in at that time from the Omni Hotel, so them and the media got to see us on the field doing this. And within the next couple hours, I'd asked some questions about, was that the owner of the Padres and the GM openly praying for some offense? And to which I told the Chicago media, "You're goddamn right."
Wow.
We're trying to do everything we can to win here in San Diego.
That's absolutely
amazing.
Incredible. AJ Preller, I'm going to put in a request for Ben and Woods Comedy Night. I would love to have you there on the mic doing comedy. That was
I'll bring
brilliant.
the sage, AJ.
That was brilliant.
It was fantastic. It also makes me mad. You've been holding back on us, AJ, every single time.
I'm actually, yes, livid.
Every single time.
Yeah.
We knew you were.
All
You
your
were holding back
non-answers
on
and
us,
whatever. Like, that was such a good story.
But he also concluded, and in talking about Peter's absolute passion and desire to win a World Series, and you could see him talking about kind of the pressure that he felt to get it done for Peter, especially while he was still here. And he said to, I think it was either to Josh Stein or just, the general of the front office, he said to everybody, we have to win for that man. We have to win for that man. And you could see how much he cares about it and how important it is to AJ. And maybe he'll get it done, and maybe he won't. And maybe he's the right guy for the job, and maybe he's not. But if you were at that ceremony, you will never doubt that AJ badly wants to win. That's his drive.
Well,
that's what he wants more than anything else, and he wants to do it for
AJ wants
Peter.
it, and you know who else wants it is our next clip. This is the guy that's going to be leading the Padres, Mike Schilt. Listen to what he had to say.
Make no mistake, Peter Seidler was also a competitor. He had a heart of a lion, and he was sincere, and his vision for San Diego Padres winning a World Series was genuine. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to do everything in my fabric so in the same area, when we celebrate our first World Championship, it'll be for Peter Seidler.
Damn, dude. I'm about to just clean slate everybody. That's how I feel right now. I don't know about how you guys feel. Like, you know what? Let's let bygones be bygones. Yeah, you might have made some crap deals here and there. Who hasn't? Who among us hasn't pissed a little money away in their time? Just clean slate the whole thing. Let's just go run this thing back, try to win some ball games. Man, that was awesome, dude.
You also had two players get up, the two, I would say, leaders, hearts of the team, in Manny Machado and Joe Musgrove. And Joe was terrific, but Manny has really taken some steps, I think, both in terms of what's happening inside the Padres clubhouse, but you can also see in how he presents himself to the rest of us as well. And I thought his words were absolutely spot on Saturday as well.
I'm lucky to have witnessed the love Peter had for you and how proud he was of you and your family. He was an inspiration to me, and I thank you for letting me be a part of that. Sadie, Shanti, Harry, you guys will always have a brother in me. Whatever you need, I'm just a phone call away. We love you.
I was weeping on Saturday.
That's got me good, man. Oh. Yep. That's my captain right there.
Peter, I miss you every day. I will always remember all our conversations, our long night talks, having a drink, beyond the lines. It was more than just baseball for Peter. I know you are here with us, with the baseball in your hand, watching us, cheering us on, our #1 fan. We will continue to work hard to fulfill your longtime dream, which is to bring a parade to the city while we hold up the Commission's Trophy at the end of the year. We love you, Peter.
Oh, that one. That's the one that got me when he spoke to Peter's kids. That's over for me right there. That's my captain. Always been my captain since he got here. Will always be my captain.
The little one, I think is that Harry? The little one was just asleep, like fell asleep in the middle and was just
sweet, man.
out
Like across his sister.
like a light, just in the front row there, and just seeing them up there, all of them.
Probably best I didn't go.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, probably best I didn't. You would have heard me in the background. Just I don't do well at things like that, and I am very moved, very, very moved by all the speakers that we heard. That's really, really well done, man.
I think the most emotional one still for me is the one that we haven't played.
Yeah, we have one more to get
more?
to. Yeah, the last one.
One more.
One more.
Okay.
And we will get to that. Why don't we do that when we come back? Because I want to finish this out on the final note, and it was when his brother Tom Seidler got up to finish.
Love Tommy.
To finish the program on Saturday, and there was also a moment that I was sure when Tom Seidler was up, I was almost sure that Peter was definitely there because of what happened while Tom Seidler was speaking. So we will get to that. When we come back, we'll play a little Take on Woods. Don't do this ahead as well. Ben and Woods, we'll talk some more Aztecs on the way. San Diego's #1 sports station. We'll be right back on 97.3 The Fan. Prolific the Great in our chat says, I have a good feeling about this year after Saturday. I can't disagree. I walked away, Paulie, on Saturday with a good feeling about the Padres this season. And I realize a good feeling doesn't drive in a run. It doesn't make a play. It doesn't throw a pitch. You can have all the good vibes and pulling on the same rope. It doesn't win you a World Series or get you to the playoffs or even get you one run over the course of the year. But I can't deny that I walked away on Saturday feeling better about the 2024 San Diego Padres than I did going in.
I was thinking the exact same thing over the weekend. I said, I don't know if it's going to translate to anything on the field, but all I know is that, look, these are professional baseball players. They have a common goal, and it's to win the World Series. Every single player in Major League Baseball, that's their common goal. At least we like to think so.
Right. In our warped brains, yeah.
While the passing of Peter, bringing this team together, doesn't... They could win 45 games next year. They could win 110 games. We have no idea. All I know is if they get anywhere near the playoffs, if they get in the hunt, I do believe that this is something that will unify them together and give them something a little bit extra to play for this season.
I mean, not that you ever need it, but listen. We responded, and everyone that had been out, it's not just us, right? Every person that went out to spring training this year that got to spend some time, and I'm not talking about media, I'm talking about Padres fans that got in their SUVs, loaded up their kids, went out to Peoria, and spent 3 or 4 days out there amongst the team, watching and going to the games, talking to some of the players, getting autographs, whatever, listening to Mike Schilt, Sammy's great content and coverage every day. Every single person, to a man or woman, has said this is a different vibe. It just is. And maybe some of that's on Bob Melvin. Maybe some of it's on Juan Soto. Maybe a lot of it is that was mortifying last year. We don't want to have that happen again. Maybe that's a big part of it. But we were all feeling this vibe well before this memorial service. And I think a lot of people were. This just helps kind of seal the deal a little bit for a lot of people.
By the way, reportedly, every single Padres player was there, including
that's awesome,
including ones that came after Peter was gone, like Dylan Cease and Woo-Suk Go and Yuki Matsui. They were all there as a team together. It was important to be as a group at that ceremony for all of them, and I thought that said a lot as well. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by your local San Diego County, the UPS Store. Your local San Diego County, the UPS Store locations are hosting a shred event from March 27th through March 30th. 50% off shredding services. Visit theupsstore.com for the location nearest UC Store for details. If you'd like to play some Take on Woods and try to qualify for the trip to Vegas at the Fontainebleau, the dinner, our musical trivia game is coming up in just a couple of minutes. You can call now. Our phone lines are open. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Get to it after the final speaker of Saturday, and it was Peter's brother Tom, one of his 9 siblings, 10 children. Peter, his sister said, we called him Pedro, number 2.
Brother Pedro.
Brother Pedro, number 2, and talked a little bit about how he was kind of a practical joker at times, especially growing up, that he would make life difficult on especially the younger siblings, as older siblings tend to do. And you could see he had a bit of a mischievous side to him. And the moment that I was sure that Peter was there was after nearly 2 hours of speakers. The performance had gone off technically flawlessly. Everything, all the videos, everything was perfect. The sound, everything was orchestrated to perfection. And then Tom, little brother, gets on the mic. And, of course, he starts talking and boom. I don't know if the microphone ran out of battery at just that moment, but completely cuts out and dies. And it won't start again. They give him another one. It's not there. Finally, they get it going again. I thought, that was Peter's practical joke to play on his brother Tom while he was up on stage in front of everybody.
When Tom was talking about how Peter used to get in trouble for TPing houses, and he goes, the last time he TP'd a house, which was at the ripe age of 62 years old, it was our house last year.
So there was definitely a mischievous side to Peter. He also told the story about how when they were first purchasing the Padres, they were like driving down to sign the papers and introduce themselves. 2012. He was in the car, Tom. They were driving down from L.A. to San Diego. And as they always did, turned on sports talk radio. and it was all Chargers. Even in May, it was all Chargers talk. And Tom goes, "Are we sure we want to do this? This isn't even a baseball town?" And Peter was like more determined than ever. He goes,
"Oh my God,
I want the day when we flip on sports talk radio and this is a Padres town and everyone talks Padres baseball."
You got it.
And I thought, yeah, you got it.
You got it.
12 years later, you have absolutely done that. So Tom gets through the microphone difficulties, what I think Peter caused, and he wraps it up, and you know, the final statements here at the celebration for life.
Just about a year ago, Peter said one day the baseball gods would smile on the Padres and we'd have a parade in San Diego. And Peter opened the question about the celebration being on land or at sea. Today we have the answer. When that day happens, the celebration will be both on land and on sea, and also in the heavens above. Peter, Tony Gwynn, Jerry Coleman, and others will be leading the celebration upstairs. As we celebrate opening week in San Diego, let's enjoy together, as Peter would say, this great game of baseball and the fun of a new baseball season.
He's just the best guy. I've had a lot of opportunity to spend a lot of time with Tom over the years at Fantasy Camp, and you just couldn't ask for a better human being than Tom Seidler, and really everybody I've met from their family and talked to from their family. So, again, I feel like we're in good hands right now. I know that there's been rumors going around, and the scuttlebutt is, they're probably going to ditch this team in a couple of years. It's hard to wrap your head around that now. I mean, obviously anything can change at any given moment. We know that. Nothing should surprise us in sports anymore at all. But right now, I'm going to choose not to worry about things like that are way, way, way out of our control, and just kind of focus on the season ahead, because it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing. And it sounds like everybody's really motivated to go out and win for Peter and win for the city of San Diego. And that's all we asked for. I mean, that's literally all we asked for. I don't expect them to win 110 games and win a division. I don't. I swear to God, if they played their asses off this year and let the chips fall where they may, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, no question. I just want to see these guys play for the name on the front, and the city and the fans, and for Peter. Absolutely. That's all I want to see. And may the best man win, really.
A couple more thoughts. We still need a contestant, by the way, for Take on Woods. This is your chance to get in, like 2 minutes away. 833-288-0973. Call now. We'll play in just a second. There was a couple of announcements. They debuted, obviously, the PS Heart logo, and they have an official one that goes right under the press box next to the Jerry Coleman microphone and the other retired numbers, which was cool to see. Mayor Gloria announced they're going to change one of the street names by Petco Park to Peter Seidler Way, made that official announcement. And as much as we've kind of focused on the baseball element of a lot of things, a lot of the speakers and much of the celebration of life focused on Peter's philanthropy, his generosity, his work with the homeless and other charities. And there were several speakers from the organizations that he worked with very closely. And I came away really amazed because above all else, everyone made the point that Peter was absolutely devoted to Sheil and the kids and just loved his family to pieces and tried to do everything he could for them. And somehow he still found the time to run a baseball team, to do all these charities, serve on all these boards, USD, the Tuesday group that he did, all kinds of different things. And I don't know how he did that, how he made that time to both be a great family man and have the impact that he had on San Diego and the community and all the people around him. And certainly, if you didn't walk away inspired to try to be a little bit better and more like Peter, which was one of the messages, then I think of the whole ceremony and celebration of life.
Yeah, no question about it, man. That's excellent, man. I again wish I could have been there. I'm glad you guys were able to go, and thanks for collecting all that audio. So I had not heard it, and it was as moving as everyone made it out to be.
Well, I had heard it, and I was happy to hear it again.
Yeah.
So we will get back to some Aztecs talk a little bit and get you ready for opening day later in the program. Right now, though, why don't we play a little game of Taking Woods? I got Guy on the line, always a good contestant. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. And we're going to try to get Guy in for the monthly prize here in March. It is a trip for two to the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 dinner credit. You can book your own reservations and rooms now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. Guy, good morning. You are in today as the contestant.
Good morning. Hey, if nobody wants to play, I'm always ready.
I'm glad. Thank you for calling in. Here are your categories, Guy. We've got forever and ever. The words ever or forever in the answers. We've got chow time, all words eat in all the answers, and baby dolls, 5 song titles that begin with the word baby. So forever and ever, chow time, or baby dolls. What would you like to play?
Let's do baby dolls.
Baby dolls. All right, new category today. 5 song titles. Each of them begins with the word baby. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. Then Woods will come in. We'll compare your score. If you can beat or tie him, we'll put you into the drawing for Las Vegas. First questions are 2-second song. Of course, you need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. Guy, are you ready to play?
Sure. Let's go.
Paulie, are you ready? Paulie is not ready yet, but he will be ready shortly. I know he's working fast, and he's got it. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category is baby dolls. Guy, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Oh, my God. Becky, look at her butt.
Baby got back by, I don't know. It's, True Life Crew? I don't know.
Incorrect. The words hit me don't appear in the title, to which 1998 debut single that launched Britney Spears to stardom.
Baby One More Time.
Correct. In 2023, David Guetta released which collaborative single that samples prominently from Hathaway's hit What Is Love?
Baby Don't Hurt Me.
Correct. Which 1977 debut single breakup song by Player is also the band's biggest hit?
Baby Come Back.
Correct. Michael McDonald sings backup vocals on which Quincy Jones produced hit 1981 duet for Patty Austin and James Ingram.
Baby Loves Me. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's okay. 3 is not a bad score. Tough category. That was Baby Come to Me by Patty Austin and James Ingram. And Baby Got Back is Sir Mix-a-Lot. I think Woods will get that one. We'll see. You got the others. Baby One More Time, Baby Don't Hurt Me, and Baby Come Back. But I don't know. 3 at least has a chance at a tie, if not an outright win, I think, today. Woods does not get the category. Same 5 questions. Same 60 seconds. Reset everything. Paul, you ready? 60 seconds on the clock.
Ready.
Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Guy.
Oh, my God. Becky, look at her butt.
Sir Mix-a-Lot, I like big butts. No,
incorrect. The words hit me don't appear in the title, to which 1998 debut single that launched Britney Spears to stardom.
Baby One More Time.
Correct. In 2023, David Guetta released which collaborative single that samples prominently from Hathaway's hit What Is Love?
David Guetta? Titanium.
Incorrect. Which 1977 debut single breakup song by Player is also the band's biggest hit?
Baby Come Back?
Correct. Michael McDonald sings backup vocals on which Quincy Jones produced 1981 hit duet for Patty Austin and James Ingram.
Something Baby. Baby, you love these nuts.
Now that you know that it's Baby.
It's Baby Got Back.
It's Baby Got Back.
Did that crush me?
And would you have gotten, so Hathaway, What Is Love?
Baby Don't Hurt Me.
Baby Don't Hurt Me. And it's Baby Come to Me is the Michael McDonald song, which means Guy with a 3-2 win takes down Woods today and qualifies for the trip to Las Vegas. Congratulations, Guy. Hang on the line. Paulie will get you into the drawing. I think you've been in every month this year so far, so congratulations to you. Yeah, the category was Baby Dolls. Every song began with the title
Dolls. Look at you.
Baby.
The first gentleman's establishment I ever went to was called Baby Dolls.
Was it?
Yes, indeed.
What city did that
was in? It was
located
on
in?
the way to Arlington, Texas, between my hometown and Arlington, Texas.
Heading to a Cowboys game, were you? Or a Rangers game?
Yeah, Rangers game. I can't remember the name of the city it was in. I'll look it up. But yeah, Baby Dolls.
Outstanding.
World famous.
All right, we got Don't Do This coming up next. Woods is looking forward to sharing some Danny Hurley audio.
Come on, bro. Come on.
And speaking of
Clown Show.
Speaking of Clown Show college basketball coaches, Kim Mulkey is definitely in the news this weekend as well. Get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic. Don't go away. It's 96. College basketball coaches always seem to be good for a couple of don't do thises every once in a while. And I will get us started today, Woods, with Kim Mulkey, head coach of the national champion LSU Tigers, formerly Baylor. She is definitely something. And she has definitely not taken any PR classes either, because when she got up at the podium this weekend and her team just barely got through to the Sweet 16 and decided to go on a 4-minute rant about an article that hasn't even come out yet from the Washington Post. She's so spun out about what the Washington Post might be writing about her. Kent Babb from the Washington Post apparently working on a story. She was asked to comment on the story earlier this week or early last week, and she chose not to. And instead, she went on a just giant tirade, part of which said, "I'm fed up. I'm not going to let the Washington Post attack this university, this awesome team of young women I have, or me without a fight. I've hired the best defamation law firm in the country. I will sue the Washington Post if they publish a false story about me." All right, first of all, you have just turned this Washington Post story into the biggest women's college basketball story maybe ever been released.
It's now must read.
Everyone is now, I mean, you could not have done the Washington Post or Kent Babb any more favors. They are like, refresh, refresh, refresh. What is in this story? When is it coming out? Because if it's just the old Kim Mulkey rubs some people the wrong way and she's got some players that were unhappy with her, as does every college basketball coach. She's definitely more on the Bobby Knight school of college basketball coaches than the Brian Dutcher school of college basketball coaches, but she wins, and that's okay for some people. It rubs other people the wrong way. But if that's all that is in that story, I'd be very surprised. She must know something is coming. And she said they released 12 questions that they had for me that I could comment on. They gave me like 3 days to respond. I'm getting ready for a game. It was absolutely impossible for me to do it. Really. So you're saying this story is so incorrect, factually incorrect, that you couldn't take 10 minutes out with your sports information staff to answer 12 questions and reply to the Washington Post? In my mind, what she is actually saying here is that everything that's coming out in this story is almost certainly true, but she wants to get ahead of it and try to make people think that it's not true. I mean, this is the Washington Post. Kent Babb is an award-winning sports writer.
Well, she attacked the media.
Multiple,
standard, standard
but Kent Babb there's been nothing in his past other than accolades and awards for doing his job well and doing it fairly. So there's no reason to believe that anything that comes out, good or bad, won't be correct. And by the way, I would almost assure you that it will cover both sides of a story. It will have comments on people who support her and don't support her, whatever it is. And it will be very fair. And I think Kim Mulkey is going to end up looking very badly when this story comes out. Not just what is in the story, but her pre-reaction to the story. We'll see what happens, though, because now everyone's waiting for this story to happen.
Interesting. Yeah, I think typically you just want to wait till the story comes out before you tell everybody how false
I would think so.
The story is. I would think. Well, listen, not the only coach going to make Don't Do This today. Dan Hurley, head coach of the juggernaut UConn Huskies, will be taking on the Aztecs on Thursday, Benjamin. Holy smokes. He is, it always makes me laugh when teams of his ilk and caliber pull this move. Check this out.
And I don't know if you know this yet or not, but you do have the early tip on Thursday in Boston.
Okay, so it gives me a little bit more us against the world stuff that I could utilize because I do think that the committee has tried to make this as difficult as they can on us to do it. The Florida Atlantic, Northwestern, 8-9, obviously, the Auburn, San Diego State, and Illinois and what they look like with Iowa State. We know what they. We know what they had in mind, and it just, it's more fuel on the fire.
Well, I'll see you in Boston on Thursday, Dan. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we'll see you in
Boston.
I'm going to see you in Boston. It's,
UConn, Boston.
You guys are from Storrs, Connecticut. It's how are you going to make the 85-mile trek all the way to Boston as the Aztecs fly literally across the country? So what's his main beef that they made his bracket too hard.
Yeah, I think he's saying that they put a bunch of really tough teams in his bracket. Now, every bracket has tough teams.
Every bracket has
them.
tough teams.
They're the number 1 overall seed.
Correct.
And they're getting to play as close to home as just about anybody.
First time in the tournament, by the way. Yes, the 1 seed plays an 8 or a 9. That's how it works, Dan.
But he thought his 8s and 9s were harder than the other 8s and 9s. And it's respectful to teams like San Diego State and Auburn.
Is it? I think it's disrespectful.
Well, I mean,
he's
saying that they've given us such tough teams to play. He is pumping up his opponent a little bit, but I think his biggest beef and part of the question was the fact that they gave them the TBS game in the early window.
Oh, yeah, he didn't.
Like, that's not respectful of a national champion. We should be playing in prime time on CBS. What it actually tells you, it's simply what TV thinks people are going to watch more of.
Yeah.
And for right or wrong, people think that UConn's going to blow everybody out, including San Diego State.
That's exactly
right. So they don't
right.
want to put that game in prime time. They want to get it done with.
So if I'm Dutch, now I use that as to my team as no, they don't. They think
it's not disrespectful of UConn. It's actually
disrespectful of San Diego State.
It's actually saying TV goes, we'll see plenty of UConn in the Final Four.
Right.
We don't need to feature them now when they're going to win by 20 or 30. So really, it's Dutch who can use this as motivation for his team going up against, this is now truly us against the world. We have to travel 4 time zones to their backyard in Boston to take on this team that everyone TV thinks we're going to get blown out, so they put us in the early spot. Let's go shock everybody, Aztecs, and pull off a stunner against the Huskies.
What's funny is that Dan Hurley, and his entire team could go out on the freeway and hitchhike to Boston, and it would take way less time than it would take to fly across the country for San Diego State. They're very close. They're going to have a huge contingent of Husky fans there, which is fine. Guess what? I mean, you've earned that right, per se.
I've seen 9.5 points on the spread. The game will start at 4:39 Pacific time on Thursday, which, knock on wood, if the Padres game ends on time on Thursday, you'll be able to go right from opening day into Aztecs watching on Thursday evening.
7:39 on the East Coast, not prime time for Dan Hurley?
Well, I mean, I guess he wanted the second game, but that seems like
it's midnight?
Yeah, the game after starts at like 10:09 Eastern time. Who would want that game?
Who wants that game?
Shut up, Dan.
Bro, what are you crying about, man? Listen, we have the potential Thursday to have a really, really great sports day or a really crap day. I will say, productivity on Thursday is going to suffer, and productivity on Friday is going to be non-existent. So, Adam, if you really want us to come in on Friday, we will. But after an opening day, a Corey Stewart tailgate, and then a freaking Aztecs game after, I'm going to sound like a turd on Friday. I'm warning you right now.
Yeah, but we might have huge stories to talk about as well. Whatever happens in the Padres game, whatever happens in the Aztecs game. I mean, it's going to be a massive Friday morning. Will anybody be awake for it? I have no idea.
If I'm up, you guys better get your asses up on Friday.
Maybe we do 7 to 11 or something.
In a heartbeat.
On Friday,
just to
back it up a little bit.
This is a really cool story.
Finally, do this.
DD Mega Do
to wrap up the segment. And this was just a good human interest story. So the PGA Tour wrapped up their Florida swing yesterday at the Valspar Championship. And it was the everyman with his yellow ball and his bucket hat. Peter Malnati had not won on tour in nearly a decade, over 3,000 days since his last victory. And as you can imagine, when you go that long between wins, you start to doubt yourself a little bit. And in that time, he became a dad, got married, family man, but wondered, is this it for me in golf?
Can I keep grinding?
Yeah.
Can I keep grinding to get my card, to try to qualify, to make enough money to support my family? My wife's we got these kids now. Should I keep doing this, or am I being selfish?
Shot a terrific 67 on a tough course, the Copperhead course at Innisbrook, to win. Beat Cameron Young by 2 strokes, and afterwards he got to catch up with the NBC Sports crew,
holding his child
while he's holding his
congratulations to him. That's incredible. I think about Mrs. Woods, and if I had gone 9 years between tourneys, and with the 2 boys,
finally,
how would that go? Are you playing this weekend?
I think I heard them say his wife's actually a PhD, studies sports psychology.
Amazing.
And but If you probably hadn't heard of Peter Malnati before yesterday, now big Peter Malnati fan.
How much did he win?
He won a couple million, I think.
Man,
$1.5 at least.
Dude.
Yeah, he's
9
in
years
good shape
between.
now.
That's amazing.
2-year exemption.
Love
the whole
that.
works. Gets into the Masters.
Yes,
elevated
dude.
events.
So cool. So cool.
And that's don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, if you need a lawyer, we've got a lawyer for you. He's our criminal defense guy, David Shapiro. We're going to talk a little Shohei Ohtani, Ippei Mizuhara, and the scandal in Major League Baseball, the investigation. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Starting next week, you can tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for the 97.3 The Fan commercial-free Padres Roundtable featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elston, and Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. All right, we're going to check traffic, and when we come back, we've got our criminal defense attorney, David Shapiro, says there's been some misreporting on the Shohei Ohtani situation from a legal perspective, at least.
This is what happened.
I mean, we're not lawyers, so we call lawyers to see what they have to say about it. We'll get to that right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a few things to watch out for here. One of them is this crash, the clearing stage on the San Isidro Boulevard on-ramp to northbound 805. And considering yesterday's strong winds, I'm surprised we're not seeing more of these. Fairmont Avenue on-ramp to westbound 8 got some tumbleweeds in the roadway. And we still have this crash in the North County, eastbound 78 past Nordall Road. It's got the fast lane blocked. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's be honest. You can't really cover sports nowadays without having a legal mind at your disposal.
Sure.
There's just so many stories that involve the courts and different confusing situations, and we've certainly found another with the Shohei Ohtani interpreter investigation. There's feds involved. There's possible charges involved. MLB started an investigation, and joining us right now, he's been on in the past. It's been a while, but good to catch up with our criminal defense lawyer for Ben and Woods, if we ever needed one. Hopefully we don't. David Shapiro is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. David, good morning. How are you?
Gentlemen, good morning. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. It's good to talk to you. This certainly rocked the baseball world, and I know that Shohei is planning on speaking today. We can speculate all we want about what he will and won't say, but I wanted to give you the floor. Paulie texted me on Friday and sent me a screenshot of your text, and I said, "Oh, dude, absolutely. Let's get a perspective of somebody that knows what's actually at stake here and for what parties."
Right. No, I appreciate the opportunity because we're hearing so much, right, since the middle of last week about what this means for Ohtani beyond MLB. Right, what this means as a potential witness to a very serious federal investigation, what this means to Ohtani as a possible suspect to this very serious federal investigation. And people were talking about, well, I think he'll just get a fine or something like that. There are much bigger issues here at play, far beyond just the bookie in Orange County, far beyond Mizuhara, because Ohtani's biggest issue right now is this whole, that when they flipped the script on what everybody was saying in the hours after all this news broke, right? Because at first, he was the hero. He was the good guy paying off $4.5 million of his friend's debt, which arguably is a crime in and of itself. And now he's the victim of a massive theft. So there's a lot going on. And that's why I wanted to come on.
So that's like the I guess, $4.5 million question. And I actually said on the air, listen, I probably, if I were Shohei Ohtani and that's what happened, I probably would have come clean with that. David, you can answer and respond to that. I would have said, yeah, my buddy got in trouble. I bailed him out. I guess I didn't really understand the ramifications of it. If that turns out to be true, and this is just a buddy doing another guy a very, very expensive solid, what kind of trouble could Shohei be in for, sending that $1 million via the internet?
Right. Then it depends on what he knew, right? So the first step is, did he authorize the transaction to this bookie or an associate of the bookie in Orange County? And then second, what was his intent in doing so, right? Did he know that this was to a bookie? And, gambling is still illegal in the state of California, and obviously the feds are involved on this bookie. So if they could prove intent and knowledge on Ohtani's part, he in essence is aiding and abetting this, illegal gambling operation. He, in essence, arguably is committing wire fraud. Now, whether or not they'll actually go after him is a whole other issue, because more often than not, they go after the bookies, not the gamblers or the people paying off the debts. But there's a significant criminal liability here, potentially, and that's why, as a criminal defense attorney, I'm glad that the firm that represents him up in L.A. actually have significant criminal defense experience.
David Shapiro is with us. So, David, you said gambling illegal in the state of California, which we do know. But I mean NCAA tournament pools and stuff, technically all illegal. They're not going to prosecute everybody. What is the reality of who, the authorities, who prosecutors, feds, whoever will actually go after in gambling cases like this one?
Yeah, I mean, good question. Totally discretionary, but in reality, they're not going to go after, your office pool or your $500 payout on a Squares game on the Super Bowl, right? They're going to go after the big fish in this enterprise. And the reason why they're doing it, I mean, we could have these moral arguments about gambling all day long. Reality is it's embedded in our society. I know you were all talking about it last week, as much as alcohol is, as much as all these other vices that people fall subject victim to, right? But it's a tax thing, because if the government could tax it, and if people are getting away making money and the government can't put their hand in their pocket and tax it and create that revenue, that's why they're getting involved. So a couple of $100 here and there, no one really cares. They're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in resources. We're talking into millions. This guy appears to be, at least is alleged to be, a legit bookie. That's where they're getting involved.
That actually makes sense. Finally, that makes sense to me, because when I always think about it, it's like, well, for Shohei Ohtani, a $10 bet for me has to be would be $100,000 for him with the kind of money that he's making. So what's the moral difference? If he can afford it, he can afford it. But obviously, in the government's mind, yeah, if you're winning, losing on the taxes that would need to be paid, especially by the people who are making money, the bookmakers in this situation. So, David, I saw, CNN, there was an interview with the bookie. Boyer, his lawyer, was on yesterday, and Ipe has had some comments. He did that interview with ESPN. If you were advising, not knowing all the facts, obviously, but if you were advising any of the parties in this case, what would you be telling them to say or not to say publicly at this juncture?
Yeah, that's the thing, to say or not to say. My first thing would be to keep your mouth closed and let us do our job for you, right? And I think that's where people get in the biggest amount of trouble, where the cover-up is arguably worse than the alleged crime. So we have Ipe flipping and saying, well, at first, not flipping in a legal sense, but flipping at least his story at this point, and saying, well, that's not true, right? So his credibility is shot, and we're seeing more and more, the more he talks, the more people start digging. And then we have stuff on his resume that apparently is getting disputed, universities, other teams he worked for. So keep your mouth closed. Don't admit to anything. Don't necessarily try and defend yourself and say the sky is blue when your best defense may be the sky is green, and just keep your mouth closed and let this thing play out.
Talking to David Shapiro, criminal defense attorney. Listen, the conspiracy theorists, and I'm really not one of them on this, says, man, this is wild. Like all the deferred payments. The IRS probably were on their heels a little bit when this contract was. This is interesting.
Like, at least the state of California's tax board was.
Yeah, exactly. Going, well, you're not even an American citizen, and all of this is going to be deferred till you may be long gone after that. So they were already, raising an eyebrow. When you put all of this together, do you think that there's fire where all of this smoke is? I don't get the sense that he's a sketchy or shady character. And by the way, nor do I think that if you gamble, you're a sketchy or shady character. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I do get the feeling he was a bit naive. Do you buy, though, David, I had no idea what was going on and how I lost all this money and it was theft?
I don't know if I necessarily buy that, and the reason is the biggest concern I have with it is, okay, Ohtani is baseball 24/7, right?
Yes.
He probably has people that are making $500,000 a year that are working for him, that are dealing with his finances. So this didn't raise a red flag to anybody.
To anyone.
You're seeing $8 or $9 $500,000 wire transfers going out to somebody you don't know. And on the flip side, this guy's seeing a $500,000 wire from S. Ohtani 9 or 10 times. And none of his finance people, none of Ohtani's people knew about it. None of his managers knew about it. None of them would say, hey, Shohei, what's going on here? Do you know, or did you authorize this? The other issue you brought up, which I have not heard a lot of people talking about, which is really important as well, if Ohtani, in the unlikely event, at least based on what we know at this point, that he could possibly be charged, and this is assuming charged as a defendant in this gambling ring, not to mention if he makes a false statement to a federal officer, if they do launch this investigation, that could be a crime in and of itself. If he gets charged and convicted of a crime, remember, guys, he's not a U.S. citizen, right? He's here basically on an athlete's visa. So if he's convicted, everyone's talking about, well, he might get suspended from MLB. What would that look like? He could possibly be inadmissible and possibly deported from the United States. So, I mean, that's an extreme situation.
Yeah.
But talking about immigration, that's a major concern as well.
That would be a wrinkle. That would be a wrinkle that nobody expected. I obviously really interested to see what he says today and really what he doesn't say. But no, I mean, this is a pretty shocking story. I have this gut feeling too, David, that Bookie was in Orange County, has relationships with other athletes. This can't be the only person involved. That guy's ring was pretty big, I would imagine. I would imagine that some other chips are going to fall because all these bookies, they're going to start turning on everyone to save their own ass. That's not uncommon in the legal system these days.
Without question, because before last week, how many people knew the name Matthew Boyer?
Right.
How many people knew the name Shohei Ohtani? Right, worldwide. And I think we're seeing that already, how Mizuhara apparently was introduced to this bookie through another teammate of Ohtani's on the Angels, right? So, and now we're hearing Yasiel Puig's name linked up to this bookie from a prior investigation or the current investigation that's been going on for quite some time. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot more coming.
In your experience, last thing for me, what's the general timeline on something like this? I know the legal system works very slowly. Is this months? Could this be years that this drags out before there's any resolution?
Well, it's kind of probably months to years for sure because of the nature and the complexities of the investigation, right? Where you're dealing with records, thousands upon thousands of records and interviews and whatnot. But this was a situation where the bookmaker was under investigation, I think, since 2017. His house/office got raided last year, I was reading. So, they're pretty deep in the investigation into him, and this is just one piece of it. So the issue is, do the feds want to go into this whole other avenue and start investigating Ohtani and certainly Mizuhara, or are they viewing them as just witnesses? And then there's the whole Mizuhara thing. If they're going to investigate him as an alleged theft on Ohtani, that's something that would definitely take months. It's not something we're expecting to see charges get filed anytime soon, if at all.
David, appreciate your time and your insight on that story. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
That's David Shapiro, criminal defense attorney. Very sharp guy.
Always,
I feel like you trust him representing you in court. He's got a good mind for such things.
I hope I don't need him, actually.
It's interesting because I heard that CNN interview with Matthew Boyer's lawyer, and she said, and she didn't answer every question, but she said more than I thought she would. She corrected the record and said that Ippei Mizuhara did not meet Matthew Boyer until 2022.
Yeah.
So all of these bets have taken place in the last essentially year and a half.
Yeah, man, it's
a lot of betting.
Quite
a
a
year,
year,
and a half.
man. Quite a year of gambling for that young man. It's wild. I don't think it's going anywhere, like you said, for a while. I think it runs much, much deeper. Just knowing how things operate, I don't know that anything's going to happen. This is, though, and I don't know how you couldn't look at it as a huge, huge distraction. Don't know if it's going to affect how the Dodgers play baseball. I doubt it. But in all of their issues right now, he may be like third on their list. Their middle infield is maybe their biggest problem right now.
My question, does anyone check resumes anymore until someone gets in trouble? Because the story, as we mentioned, that his bio said he attended UC Riverside. UC Riverside came out and said, We have no record of this guy whatsoever.
That's wild, man. Why would you
does
lie?
anyone actually go back and check these things before they hire people?
Why would you lie about going to UC Riverside? Well, that's the beauty of the lie. Yeah, it's very believable. Like nobody's going to check this.
Who would lie about going?
I graduated from Cornell. Everybody, like that's a phone call away, buddy.
I feel like we're going to learn. He doesn't even speak Japanese.
Right, yeah, for real.
Point. He's been translating for Ohtani for years. He's just making the whole thing up for everybody. But yeah, Ohtani's scheduled to speak probably sometime this afternoon before the Dodgers play their exhibition game. So we'll all be very curious as to what he has to say to the media later today. All right, we'll come back. I want to talk some more Aztecs, restart the show. 2 more hours of Ben and Woods left here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Essentially, I feel like we are just killing time until Thursday. That's this whole week for me. I just want it to get to Thursday, opening day, Padres, Giants. We'll all be together, down with the Tier 1s, broadcasting live, doing the whole thing again, just getting this thing off and rolling in what should be an interesting season for our beloved San Diego Padres. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer, imaging director. He's got a lot of imaging to get to this week to make sure everything sounds great on the radio station. He's been working hard. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. He always works hard. Was up late last night. The schedule changed a little bit because of the Aztecs. So Ben is back to, that was like old school Ben when we first met.
I did not fall asleep last night, well, until this morning at 1:20.
So brutal.
I got home late because I was on live in the 11 because of the Aztecs, and I didn't get home until after midnight. And I was still a little wired, when you're up that late, and you need some time to relax. So I started watching The Holdovers finally.
Yeah.
And I watched about half of them. I got to get to sleep. But I was like, usually I fall asleep after like 10 minutes of watching TV at night, but I got about an hour in. I go, I'm not going to finish this movie. It's going to be 2:20 in the morning, but Paul Giamatti always gets me. He's great.
He's great.
He's
great.
always
and it's
so
kind
good.
of it's a great movie, but it's just kind of a slow burn. It's not going to, it's not a bunch of bank robbing
Angus
scenes.
Tully and I was like totally locked in and going, I've got to get to bed. It's 1:20 in the morning.
It's funny, man, because
you're a morning show host.
On Wednesday, speaking of that whole scene, on Wednesday is our 6-year anniversary of our show. We've been together 6 years, and I will be brutally honest with you. After about a year, I thought, he's gone. We're going to lose him. Like, he can't continue at this pace of coming in, going to bed at 1:30 and then coming in and doing a morning show every day. He's going to burn out. Like, he's going to fizzle out, may turn to the needle or something. I don't know what's going to happen. And then after knowing him for 6 years, I think the fact that our show's been pretty successful certainly helps. If we were languishing, that was when he might be like, yeah, this isn't worth it every day. But crazy to believe that 6 years ago on Wednesday, we turned the mics on for the very first time. And like I said, we're gonna play some fun stuff for you on Wednesday. It's not gonna be a whole. We were talking about it like a 5-year anniversary is a big deal. The next big one will be 10. If we can make it to 10 years together, that's when Van Halen comes in and plays a party. And by Van Halen, I mean some band that's local that sounds like Van Halen. We pay them $50. They come in.
Han Valen.
Valen, yes,
I already
100%.
I already know who I want for the 10-year anniversary.
Who?
The Red Hot Chili Pipers.
The Red Hot Chili Pipers. I think they're way pricier than you think. Yeah. I
think you'd be surprised.
I think you'd be massively. If we get Han Valen, I think that's more in our budget, even after 10 years. But excited to do a little look back. And Paulie has
why can't we get Poison now? We should be able to get Poison at this point.
So it's an interesting thought. And I will say, before Saturday night, watching Bret Michaels play at the Seals game, Ben, I would have said, yeah, we could probably get him for not much. Dude, when I tell you, so I had the Seals game, I'm the PA, incredible game. Got down 5-1 in the first. I thought, oh, this is going to be one of those. And just chipped away. Finally got a lead in the fourth. And my man, Trey LeClaire, we went to overtime. My man, Trey LeClaire, gets in the long feed from the goalie, catches it, runs down, shoots, scores. I go nuts. I'm standing up on the partition, beating on the glass. It was amazing. The place goes ape-s. It was awesome. Clinched the playoffs for the Seals. By the way, the crowd, if you were in the crowd on Saturday night, you kicked ass. You guys were incredible. I sound like Bret Michaels right now. You guys were amazing. You showed up early.
You guys
stayed.
rocked your faces.
You guys
we love you, San Diego.
Let's see your hands. So, Ben, I thought, all right, he's going to do a 5-song set. It should be like a little stage, couple guitar, whatever. The production that this thing was unbelievable. It had the lights, the smoke. And I said to one of the guys, I go, bro, I thought this was going to be a little bit more low-key. And he goes, we don't do anything low-key. And I went, I love it. So they had to set the whole thing up. So before the game starts, now, Bret Michaels' daughter, Rain, does the in-game reporting. She grabs me in the lunchroom before the game, and she goes, hey, come here. And I go, yeah. And she said, my dad wants me to bring him on stage. And I can't do it. And I go, why? And she goes, I'm terrified. I go, you're literally on camera. People watch you on camera. She goes, I can do it on camera. Anything on an elevated platform where people are staring at me, I can't do.
I get it.
Really?
It's different. That's different.
And I said, okay, so what do you want from me? She goes, I want you to bring him up. And then my whole mouth went dry and stayed dry. And I just was like, okay, I'll do it. And then she texted me what they wanted me to say, the whole thing. And so I got to bring him on stage. And I was just sitting there going, if 13-year-old you could have seen you now bringing up Bret Michaels, you wouldn't have believed it. I would not have believed that was possible.
Did you keep it low-key?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bret Michaels.
Bret Michaels of the legendary Poison. Paul, you
Ladies
should have,
and gentlemen.
you should
Bret
have the
Michaels.
audio. Do you have the audio?
No.
It's out there, but it's on my Twitter if you want it. But if not,
There you are,
no
though,
big
on
deal.
our YouTube stream, on stage, microphone, set up, looking sharp up there.
It was really cool for me, man. And so after it was cool. And so after I put the mic down, I walked right around to the side stage and just was looking right through the bars and watching Bret Michaels. And listen, is he cheesy hair metal? Yeah. Do I still love that? Yes. Very, very much. Very, very much. He and his whole scene were for a young Woods in Connecticut, my conduit to California. And it's all I ever wanted as when I was a kid is to move here. I didn't care where.
He's from Pittsburgh.
He is, but he was in Sunset Strip. It's all I ever wanted was to be in California. And it was because I'd thumbed through these magazines going, this Sunset Strip place. I like, what is this? Look at all these girls. Look at this party that they're having. It's crazy to think he's in such good shape, still making money, still having fun, and really cares about his audience. And I had such a great time. And it was a...
What did he play? New music, old music?
So it was wild. He came out and he did Talk Dirty to Me, which is a great opener. Then, weirdly, he went into Sweet Home Alabama, which
famous
is
Poison hit, Sweet Home
hit,
Alabama.
Which was weird because, like, maybe towards the end, I don't know. I just thought in my mind, but the whole crowd is, yeah. And they're doing, of course, Sweet Home San Diego, right? It's great. Then he goes into Your Mama Don't Dance and Your Daddy Don't Rock and Roll, which is not my favorite, but I was into it. Then he goes into Every Rose, and I get one little lone tear in the corner of my eye when he plays Every Rose. And then he does Nothing But a Good Time, and that was it. And it was so, so cool. So much fun. He looks great. He's skinny as a...
Bret Michaels, the party starts now!
They told me to read that one with a little bit of vigor, and so I did read it with vigor. My voice was cashed. I mean, I had spent the entire game going, San Diego, go! You know what I mean? I was just done. Yesterday, I woke up, I was like, good morning. Does anyone have any coffee or a lozenge for me? I was just toast, but so, so worth it. Getting it after a win, clinching the playoffs. He put a Seals hat on. He loves lacrosse. Loves it. So it was awesome, dude. It was a bucket list night for sure.
Pretty spectacular weekend. The only drawback was that Fan Fest had to be canceled yesterday.
I
knew
was
about
not
that.
mad at it.
Well, I mean, with the weather that kind of started kicking up and the wind and the rain, it was probably a good idea. I think it's ultimately for the players maybe a good thing. Give them one more day off before they get back. But
They're
today,
back at it today.
So tonight, 7 o'clock, and you can hear the game right, or 6:40. You can hear the game right here on 97.3 The Fan. Padres will play the Seattle Mariners in the first of two exhibition games. First chance locally to see Dylan Cease, I believe, in action on the mound for your San Diego Padres. And before the game, they're going to hold a ceremony for the reopening of Gallagher Square. And I must say, I don't want to give away too much, but I've started seeing some sneak previews. And I think it looks really, really sharp out there. Obviously, functionality in terms of watching both the game and concerts that are out there with the bigger screen and the amphitheater, that's going to work really well for people who are sitting out there. The Tony Gwynn Plaza and the statues and the new kind of concession area is going to make things more convenient for everybody. But did you see the little kids ballpark, which is always, when it was out there, one of the most popular places for parents of, smaller kids when you go to a Padres game, that little field.
I'm going to get worn out there. I'm going to be out there the whole game.
They have
upgraded
it significantly, including the wall in right field of the little field has a cutout of Fernando Tatis Jr. of his catch where he went over the wall at the end of last season, kind of sealing his platinum glove. So you can go up and compare yourself to Tatis as you go over the wall. And what I thought was genius, the right field foul pole has a Jack-in-the-Box.
Oh, it's perfect.
Head on the top, just like at Petco Park. It's amazing. So lots of little details. Padres always do well when it comes to those little touches to make Petco Park special and spectacular. And I think everyone's going to really enjoy what they're going to see here today with the re-unveiling of Gallagher Square.
Well, that's where I'll be opening day. Me and the missus will be strolling around Gallagher Square and hanging out in the new Gallagher Square. Excited about that. Oh, by the way, just as an aside, Ben, you were mentioning the details and having fun at games. You know who had a blast at the Seals game on Saturday night was one Samuel Levitt, who came to the game. He asked me, hey, I want to come. I said, don't buy anything.
Oh, my God, that reminds me.
Let me send it to you.
He posted a video on his Instagram story.
Yeah. What was he doing?
He had a busy weekend.
Him at the Seals game during the game winner, the walk-off or whatever, and him laughing behind.
Oh, I got to hear this. I haven't seen it. He said, I had a blast. Now, we showed out for him. There was a fight, which is rare. I mean, it happens. Every game is
I'm surprised
chippy.
it's not more common.
So
I mean, when someone, and they just whacking each other with those sticks the whole game, you'd think at some point someone's just going to snap and they're just going to want to punch somebody.
And it happens.
It doesn't happen that often.
He said, super incredible ending. This game was so much fun.
Yeah.
Listen to it. You got to listen in the background.
Okay.
You can hear Sammy laughing hysterically.
Elite. What a laugh.
Killed me.
I love it. He's such a good dude. He said he had such a good time. He couldn't have picked a better game for him to come to. Like, down 5-1, I was like, oh, no, man. But everyone hung in. Crowd was electric. Just bananas. So it was so much fun.
Sam was also crowdsourcing his bagels yesterday morning. I think he ended up in Point Loma. But the guy has such a large social media following based on his TikTok success and his Twitter success that when he asks a question like that, he'll get like 400 suggestions. I mean, Sammy can go and get all kinds of recommendations from anyone. So he was looking for his bagels yesterday, and hopefully he found a good one out in Point Loma, somewhere I've never been. But Sammy had a busy weekend, and it's going to be fun getting him back on the pre and the post game shows starting on Thursday.
Can't wait. Cannot wait, man. Season starts now. It's going to be so much fun. You guys have any plans? Are those games available to watch tonight? Like, can I watch still in see somewhere? Is it Padres.tv?
Don't know. I know you can listen on 97.3 The Fan.
Okay.
I'll give you that for sure. Right. Both games.
Let's talk about that. We have been asked probably 100 times in the last 7 days what is going on with the broadcasts. I could have sworn I thought this was already established, but I guess it's not.
Well, I paid my cable bill last month, so I'm in good shape, I hope.
I guess the Padres, I've been told, will be putting out some information sometime before Thursday on where you'll be able to watch the games. All I have been led to believe, at least, all offseason was whatever you did last year to watch them after, May when Bally's went out. It's going to stay the same.
All right, so I can watch on your view.
Probably. Yeah, nothing's been officially announced, but my colleague Spencer Soisher at Channel 10 did a story last week where essentially they...
Spencer Soisher.
Spencer Soisher.
Soisher.
S-O-I-C-H-E-R. Spencer Soisher.
Say that 5 times
Spencer
fast.
Soisher. Spencer Soisher. Spencer Soisher. Spencer Soisher. That's a tough one.
That is very tough.
Yeah, and essentially the message was... where you watched the games last year will be where you can watch them this year. And in fact, I've heard from some people that they've turned on Spectrum and they found the games, Don and Mud calling them already this month. Even before it's been announced, they've started feeding them, perhaps DirecTV as well. I don't know that I've seen them on Channel 4, Your View yet, but my expectation is that that's where you'll find everything where you saw it last year. Now, what's more important for the Padres, and I don't know the answer to this, is... are they getting paid anything for this?
Yeah,
Are they paying to get these games on again? How is that working in terms of the finances? Because obviously your television deal is a major source of revenue. Are the Padres getting anything out of that other than subscriptions to Padres.tv and any advertising they can sell? Are they actually getting broadcast rights from any of these entities to show the game or not. And that is something that I have not heard anything about. And really, it is one of the more important questions of where, not just where the Padres are going to play, but what does this mean to the organization with where they are playing on television?
Yeah, my cable bill is not getting any cheaper, and I want to make sure that I can log in, or not log in. I want to turn on my television and watch my San Diego Padres from home, like I did last year. I pay through the nose for Cox, and Cox is expensive.
Yes. Yeah, all cable is expensive.
Especially Cox.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by your local San Diego County The UPS Store. Your local San Diego County The UPS Store locations are hosting a shred event from March 27th through March 30th. 50% off shredding services. Visit theupsstore.com for the location nearest you. See store for details. There was something that came out last night after San Diego State was just about to wrap up their win that struck me as a major milestone in just really all of San Diego sports, but certainly for the Aztecs. I want to get to that when we come back. We'll talk some of the hoops from last night with Ben Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Well, as you know, the Aztecs are going to the Sweet 16 for the second straight year. That's never happened before in school history.
It's amazing, man.
And things have really changed in college basketball. Jeff Eisenberg, college basketball writer, sent this tweet at halftime with the Aztecs up 24 on Yale. He said, the Sweet 16 won't have any semblance of small conference charm, barring a wild second-half Yale comeback. The only double-digit seed, two-time national champ NC State. The only teams from non-power conferences, Gonzaga and presumably San Diego State. And I commented on that tweet and said, San Diego State is now one of college basketball's big meanies, and I'm here for it. They're not considered a surprise anymore when they get this far. You look at the bracket and the Sweet 16 teams that are remaining, and you look at UConn, Illinois, Iowa State, Marquette, Duke, Houston, and you see San Diego State, and you go, yep, they belong in that company.
Feels right.
That feels right. They're in that company now.
Casuals, like East Coast bias casuals of college basketball have to think, yeah, I do see them in the tournament just about every year. Weren't they in the championship last year? Like, that's a pretty good school, right?
Yeah, it took a few years for Gonzaga to kind of get there, and now, obviously everybody expects Gonzaga to be there, and they're back in the Sweet 16 again, even after a down year. Congratulations to the Zags. But San Diego State is now,
look good, by the way,
they've looked way better than they did early in the season when San Diego State beat them in Spokane. But San Diego State has risen to that level of national awareness and prominence that it doesn't surprise even the jaded, biased East Coast basketball writers and fans when they see the Aztecs in the Sweet 16. They go, oh, yeah, they belong with this kind of company. Oh, yeah, they crushed Yale, a 13 seed in the second round. That's kind of what they're supposed to do. Yep. They're San Diego State. And that really has never happened. Even last year, the run to the Final Four was kind of the surprise Aztecs, and, wow, this is an amazing story. Now it's more like, yeah, why wouldn't they be there at this point? And that is the big change that I am really excited about.
Last year it was Alabama that they took down, and no one thought they could take down Alabama. And I would
Once
say,
again, the number one seed in the tournament.
Number one overall. And again, here you're looking down the barrel of that again. You want to make the Elite Eight, you're going to have to take down the number one overall seed again in UConn, and it's going to be a tough order. And I think, Vegas certainly agrees. 9.5-point underdogs right now for the Aztecs, but when you like Lamont Butler Friday night, I mean, I wouldn't say his greatest season at all, made for March, right? Like a guy that just rises to the challenge in March. And then, of course, what do you say about Jaden Ledee? He's a man among boys. He really is. The minute that game started, I saw the matchup on him. I went, you poor SOB. Like, you could try to put your body on him, and he flicked that guy off like just like a bug on his shoulder. All night long, he was just working. He was hitting outside. He was hitting everything, threes early. It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I would say UAB had a better game plan for the Aztecs with that 1-3-1 zone. And, they were causing San Diego State some problems, especially trying to get into their offense where they had to keep throwing it over guys and going back and forth. And I go, this looks really awkward, guys. I mean, I know you're eventually getting it to Ledee and he's getting his points, but you're making this game ugly, which was smart, I think, of UAB.
Sure.
I mean, they were down 12 in the second half. They came back, took the lead. Good job by the Aztecs on Friday night of not panicking in that situation, because we had seen games this season where that had happened and they weren't able to close it out and get the win. But certainly, Lamont Butler, for all of the... Yeah, he didn't really take much of a step forward this season offensively.
Right.
He certainly came to play in the last couple of games in the NCAA tournament. And Darion Trammell, again, didn't have a particularly good shooting or offensive season, was absolutely on fire. Every shot he took yesterday looked as pure, just perfect going up, and he was fantastic. That 4-point play in the corner, it was like, is anything going to go wrong for the Aztecs in this game? I mean, you're just watching. It's like everything is coming up Aztecs against
really
Yale in this game yesterday, which made it really, really fun to watch.
And I was so glad that they got through to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
And this is not copium for the fact that they are playing the number one overall seed again, the team that beat them last. Trust me, I don't hate UConn. It's not like a BYU, New Mexico type thing. I don't like them. They screwed us in 2011.
Yeah, there's some
Sweet
history.
16.
Yep.
Kemba
They
Walker.
beat us
Yep.
in the freaking championship last year. I would love to get revenge.
Oh,
But
yeah.
But you asked me last week, how far do you think, as a fan, as an alum, how far do you want San Diego State to go? I got to get to the Sweet 16.
Got to.
I don't want a hangover from last year,
Nope.
getting to the championship, getting to the Natty and losing. They got to get to the Sweet 16. They've
Got
been
it.
in that 16 to 24 range in the rankings all season long. Get into the Sweet 16, and they did, and I'm happy with that.
So
it's
the
all kind of gravy from here on out, for me at least.
The point's kind of been made. It's kind of eerily strange how similar this year's run has started out to last year's run. They got a 5 seed last year. They had a surprisingly close game against a 12 seed, College of Charleston, last year in the first round, but they survived it without playing their best game. And then they absolutely destroyed the 13 seed last year. That was a Furman in the second round. And then they played the 1 seed in the third round. It was Alabama last year.
Is that the game? Was it Trammell that hit the free throws at the end?
I think so, yeah. The Darion was the South Region MVP after they beat Alabama. So they give them the 1 seed again. But remember, last year's run also included a revenge game in the Elite Eight against Creighton, the team that had knocked them out of the NCAA tournament the year before. So once again, they're going to get a chance to face the team that knocked them out of the NCAA tournament when they go up against UConn in this next game. And UConn is deservedly the favorites on Thursday. They're not only the defending national champion.
They're really good.
By everything that I've seen, they're better than last year's team. They've lost 3 games. They are superior to the team that stormed to the title without even a close game in the NCAA tournament last year. They won 8 straight NCAA tournament games, and none of them have even been close. That's how good they've been in the tournament. The fact that the odds makers think that the Aztecs can maybe keep it to single digits would actually be the best performance against UConn in their last 9 NCAA tournament games. So it's not actually the biggest insult to be a 9.5-point underdog to UConn at this point. But I will say this. The Aztecs hit shots, and, they're coming off their best shooting performance of the season. They can win that game. And the other big factor that you always have to remember, it's college basketball, it's March, and they're all kids. And this is not the NBA Finals. These aren't pros. Anybody can come out and have a bad day, even UConn. So you've got to play the game, whether it's a 1 in 10 chance or whatever. You go out and you play that game, and you give San Diego State absolutely a fighting chance against number 1 seed UConn in the Sweet 16 on Thursday.
What a day Thursday would be if you go in and beat Bob Melvin and his Giants and Logan Webb 6-1, and then you tune in and the Aztecs find a way to
out
win
of
that.
Petco Park, dump into the gas lamp, go watch
the game.
basketball game.
Aztecs find a way to win that game. That'd be a pretty elite San Diego sports day. And let me be honest, I don't know of a city more deserving of an elite sports day after the year that we've had. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Now, the one thing that would be very different if San Diego State does move on, remember they were advantageous in that they got to be the home team and they faced lower-seeded Creighton and then lower-seeded Florida Atlantic in the Final Four. There's no easy road this year. If they do upset UConn, it's either Iowa State or Illinois in the Elite Eight, both very, very good teams. Get to the Final Four, it's probably North Carolina or Arizona in the Final Four. There were almost no upsets this weekend.
Yeah.
There were a couple of ones on Thursday and Friday, like England.
The second round was not great.
That's what I was texting you guys about yesterday. I go, all right, I've had enough. I'm basketballed out. I was waiting all day for the Aztecs
For only
game.
the 5th time in tournament history, all number 1 and number 2 seeds have made it to the Sweet 16. 2 number 3s, 2 number 4s, 2 number 5s, a number 6, and a number 11. This is no Cinderella story anymore in the NCAA tournament. This is just blue bloods.
Yeah, I think we're worse for it, too.
And it's going to be just an epic battle, which I think should mean we get really, really good games the next 2 weeks of the tournament.
See, you said, what did you're not in favor of that, all the blue bloods?
I
like it once you get to the Sweet 16. Like, it's fun every year when a 15 or a 14, has the one miraculous game, maybe even the second miraculous game, and everyone's
That's
like,
what
okay.
I wanted out of Oakland.
Like nobody wants to see Oakland,
and they almost
a
pulled it
14-seeded Oakland miraculously get their way to the final.
But yeah,
four.
Duquesne.
Nobody wants that.
No,
come on.
James Madison, all the winners in the
Cinderella
first
story.
round, none of them could pull off the second upset. I had Grand Canyon in my Sweet 16 and a couple of my brackets. Thought they had a chance there against Alabama for a second, but there just was none of them could pull off 2 wins in a row. Yale, all of them. They met their match in the second round, and we're left with college basketball's blue bloods. And as I started this segment saying, and San Diego State is one of them now. And that's really cool to me.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
but
really
once we get
cool.
to the Elite Eight, Final Four, I'm like, I want the best matchups. Give me the blue bloods against each other. I'm totally fine with that.
All right, I got a question for you. When we come back, Padres talk again. Will the Padres make a move, one more move, before reopening day on Thursday?
For
Is
the
there
47th time.
Does AJ have one last trick up his sleeve? Already did Dylan Cease.
Well, did you see the latest rumors on Tommy Pham?
No.
Oh.
No. Share us. Share with us next.
I'll share you next.
With Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour, 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Celebrate and save at Ashley's anniversary sale with hot buys. Your choice of colors starting at $399. Ashley sleep mattresses starting at $250. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases only at Ashley. Just had a little bit of news from the NFL during the break. The owners at their meeting officially approved the banning of hip drop tackles in the NFL. It's basically where you come up from behind and then drop to your knees and just fall basically on the back of the guy's leg. And it's dangerous and has resulted in a lot of injuries.
It doesn't even really have to be from behind. It's more of I grab you and then I just kind of use my body weight
to fall
on you, which is something that it really came to light last year. They were talking about it a lot. A lot of guys got hurt, and I thought, I feel like they've been doing this forever. Like I remember being a kid and watching, if someone was able to corral like an Emmitt Smith or a Barry Sanders, they were so shifty. You couldn't get them down, so they would squeeze them and then just lean all of their body weight on them. But a lot of guys were getting hurt last year.
I mean, it's very obvious to see why it makes it very susceptible to injury.
But again, if you're a defensive player in the NFL, what can you do anymore? It's completely, I don't want to say rigged, but it's completely in favor of offense now. That's pretty much what the NFL wants. They want offensive games and high offensive outputs. I'll be honest, I enjoy a high offensive game. Don't we all? It's pretty fun. But if you're a defensive player, like, why would you willingly go be a cornerback right now or a linebacker where you're like, I cannot hit the quarterback anymore ever? He just threw it. I barely touched him, and it's a flag. Or it's a cornerback. Like, I barely put my hands on him. That's a penalty. It's really skewed for the offense.
I will say this. We always frame this as they're making it much harder on the defense and easier on the offense.
Isn't that the right way to frame it, though?
Yes and no. The rules are the rules, and defensive players will always be compared to each other. Someone is still going to be the best defensive player who gets the most money, who plays the game the best, given the rules that they have to work with. They're not just going to say, man, there's just no more good defensive players, so I guess we just won't have a defense. They're still going to have defenses, and they still have to do their best to tackle. And even if every team scores, 40 to 50 points, you're never going to stop playing defense, and you're never going to stop having defensive players. They just have to adapt to the rules that are given. And the most valuable defensive players will be the ones who can best adapt and play football, as is true with any sport on any offense or defense. Well, you have to play to the rules that are established. And if you can't adapt to those rules, then you're not as good of a player as maybe you thought, and you're not as valuable as you thought you were. But someone will be valuable. Someone will be able to play in these rules and go, that guy's the best defensive player in the sport and will be the MVP on defense next year. That's how it works.
Well, it's funny because going back to baseball, there was a clip making the rounds out of spring training, and it was Francisco Lindor taking a throw from the catcher. He plays shortstop for the Mets, and he's down there, and he gets the ball. The guy is 5 feet from the bag. He lays the glove down there, tags the guy cleanly. Umpire immediately, no, safe. And Lindor turns around like, what? He's like, you were blocking. You were obstructing the bag.
Reminded me of some of the Gary Sanchez blocking the plate calls last year.
Very much so, dude.
What? He's out by a mile.
So my buddy that I played ball with, Mike Ramazzotti, he's now a coach in the Houston Astros system, and he's a hell of a ball player. Great dude. They actually have a thing. They have a base, and then they have drawn lines and said, no entry here. So they're
kind of like the crease.
And he wrote on his Instagram when he posted, he goes, trying to figure this thing out. So you got your shortstop, he goes over to get the throw. They're basically asking him to straddle the bag like we did in Little League. Guys now go up front because you want to get the ball and you want a quick tag, but that foot can't be anywhere in front of the corner of that bag, Ben. It is going to be, I think it's
Manny does that a lot at third. He's going to have to adjust. But like many of these baseball rule changes, this one is also designed, as you just said, play the game more like you used to play it. And that was when you take a base and tag a guy, you used to be straddling the bag and then you drop it down. You didn't put your foot right in front of the bag. No coaches when I was growing up ever taught a second baseman or a third baseman to put their foot in front of the bag when a guy was sliding in.
So Flan, our beloved Tim Flannery, tweeted, he goes, "Oh yeah, I did that once. Andre Dawson spiked me right in the leg. I never did it again."
But they don't want that anymore.
They don't want that anymore. But what it's going to do, I think it's going to increase stolen bases even more. I think now that a guy can't block you, I don't know, it's just going to be really tough for the middle infielders. It's going to be tough for guys like Manny, like you said. But they're going to have to figure out a way around it. What's going to happen is we're going to get banged on a game. Like it's going to be a huge, huge call. Ha-Seong Kim's going to go to adjust to a throw. His foot's going to graze in front of the bag. They're going to call this to the letter of the law, and it's going to suck.
I know this sounds wild, Padres fans, but hear me out. There's nothing in the universe that says it couldn't be the other team that gets called and it benefits the Padres at some point.
No, but
we all know that it's only going to be the Padres that suffer from the calls that are on the field during the course of the season. But technically, sometimes good things happen to, your calls go your way. Bizarre calls actually help your team. I know it sounds wild, and it's never actually happened here in San Diego, but it's theoretically possible that the Padres win a game or two on an oddly implemented call at some point this season. I know. I'm getting kind of crazy. All right, let's check traffic. The question is, does AJ have one more move in him before Thursday, opening day? And Woods has some updates on Tommy Pham possibly coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, a 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Still a few trouble spots out here. Southbound side of the 15 near the 163, we have reports of some debris in the slow lane. Also some debris on the transition ramp, northbound 125, right at the eastbound 8 connector. Traveling down the coastline, southbound 5 near Santa Fe Drive, there is a collision involving several vehicles. That is over to the right shoulder. And in Valley Center, we're going to find a collision blocking lanes, intersection of Valley Center Road and North Lake Wolford. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is your drive-through oil change. It only takes 15 minutes and you don't have to get out of your car. With all the rain lately, Valvoline's also offering replacement wiper blades. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com, SoCalOilChange.com. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, Benny, I saw a tweet over the weekend from Han Song-jan News. The Hanshin Tigers of the NPB are in advanced negotiations with 36-year-old outfielder Tommy Pham.
I'm proud of myself.
Proud of myself. Tigers want to add the experienced outfielder who played for the Mets and the D-backs to their roster, and this is the weird part, have them compete against Sheldon Noisy and Uko Maegawa for the left field spot. I don't know. I mean, unless the money is beyond right, that Tommy Pham's going to go, yeah, I'm going to go right now and compete with Sheldon Noisy and Ukyo Maegawa for the left field spot for the Hanshin Tigers.
I got Maegawa.
He's going to win the job?
I think so.
So I don't know how much to believe this. I just know that he's still sitting out there. We saw J.D. Martinez come off the board, went to the New York Mets. I did laugh at what he said. I'm addicted to the playoffs. Many people tweeted the joke, your sobriety starts now. You are now with the New York Mets. Now, he's going to help their team. The one guy
he also had some interesting comments where he said he was offered more by the Giants, but did not want to go.
Didn't want to hit there.
To that ballpark, T-Mobile Park. No, that's the San Francisco one. Oracle Park, and hit there because it's where hitters go to die.
That's exactly right.
And he'd rather play somewhere else.
Yeah. So they did. The one guy that was not very happy about the J.D. Martinez signing was their prospect. I think his name is Mark Viento. And somebody grabbed a microphone and said, so what did you think about the addition of J.D. Martinez? And he just stopped. He looked at the camera. He goes, it's a good pickup for the team. Meaning he's out of a job now because J.D. Martinez is going to get all the DH at bats for the Mets. So he's off the market. Pham's still sitting out there.
That Tommy Pham Japan news strikes me very much as trying to squeeze a couple more dollars out of the Padres or whatever team that he's talking to. Like, hey, I do have another option. Look at what great option I have in Japan.
Right.
Don't let me go now because I have 1 foot on the plane to Japan. No, really, I'm going to get on the plane to Japan if you don't sign me. He's trying to drive up the price here at the last second. I saw someone posted that he liked to tweet.
He did like one of his Instagram posts
where the Padres were, operating under some limited, funds, and that's why Tommy hasn't been able to sign yet. So he's certainly been talked about the last couple of days. Will AJ go out and make that last move? Will Jurickson have to comment? What did you think about the signing of Tommy Pham, Jurickson?
It's funny because
good signing, helps the team.
I was going to ask you guys, what is your now? Remember too, it's roster cut down time. So like CJ Crone has been cut. G-Man Choi has been cut. There are some guys out there that if you're looking for a bat, can be had on the cheap. None of those guys blow my hair back very much, but this is where also GMs are able to go, all right, I mean...
We were dying for all of them before the Padres scored 15 runs in a game.
Right. But you look at it and go, all right, so anybody that's out there worthy of a very cheap move to add. Now, CJ Crone does not play left field, Ben, so he could platoon with Croney at first, but Croney looks pretty good right now. But hey, maybe he mashes lefties, I think. So
you would create the greatest Crone zone in the history of baseball.
Literally, the
with that
best
platoon.
Crone zone of all time. So it'll be interesting to see what AJ does, but I still think there's a move to be made. And I was going to ask you guys, what is the clock on Jurickson Profar? I don't want to be negative at all, but is he going to be your everyday left fielder? And should he be given the opportunity to be your everyday left fielder? I think we said
for now.
I think we said when we signed him,
yeah.
he's really a really nice piece coming off the bench for sure, and can play a couple of different positions for you, and he's versatile. But you want him run him out there for 150 games.
Right now, he's my starter against righties, and I think Azokar is my starter against lefties in left field, at least at the moment to start the season.
Well, yeah, that's what you literally have.
Yes.
You really don't have much of a choice. You literally have that, and
which
only
makes
that.
Jackson Merrill your absolutely everyday center fielder.
Correct.
Tatis is your everyday right fielder. I mean, Sugar can get out just either of those positions if you want to get one of those guys a day off of his feet, but then you definitely have to have Jurickson out there. They still only have 4 outfielders, right? I mean, I guess Paulie can play out there a little bit. I think
Paulie's a third baseman. I've seen him at fantasy camp. He's really mostly
not
a third
that Paulie, but Graham Paulie, who was also a third baseman.
2 innings on the bump.
I would be a little nervous with you in left. I would. It's spacious out there.
I'm still unsure. Is Graham Paulie really going to be on the team?
I don't know.
Or not? Is he going to be on the bench? I feel like
he better start tonight. He's got to be in the starting lineup tonight.
He's got to get some at bats. I mean, he's not missing any minor league action right now. If he starts going a couple of weeks and he's only getting a pinch hitting appearance or 2 or a spot start every few days, doesn't he need to be playing more at his age than being just a utility backup guy in the big leagues right now?
So I apologize for not having the splits in front of me. I wish I would have. You said you want Profar hitting from the left side against righties. Yes? So he's your left-handed against
Correct.
righties. And Pham...
And no, Sugar would be...
Well, but if we got Pham...
Pham might be more of your everyday
type.
Okay, with Profar occasionally going up against righties in that situation, and being more of your piece coming off the bench that you can use.
Now Dan says give Pham $1 million like Profar and they can compete. Yeah, he wouldn't take it if they could get Pham for $1 million.
Tommy made 7 or 8 last year and had a really good season.
Yeah.
He's having a tough time accepting that 36-year-old pay cut after a good year.
I know. It's tough.
And I get it. You feel like you do your job well, you should make more money, not less. But no people are offering more money. They're only offering less. So he's got to make a tough decision. Japan, take less money with the Padres, take less money somewhere else right now. Those are the options that have been presented to you.
I just felt like 3 weeks ago it was a foregone conclusion that Tommy Pham would be back in left field, and it hasn't happened yet, so I wonder what we don't know.
More Padres talk coming up, including the breakout game of prospects happened over the weekend as well in Arizona. And then Paulie's got some Reindl Report headlines to kick off our final hour coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Just got a tweet from your colleague, Ben, Spencer Soysher. And he tweeted
the alliterative one.
Yes, he had heard us trying to fumble through his name earlier. He said, surprisingly, my mom loved this at Ben and Woods. For 25 years, my dad went by Stevens instead of Soysher when he was on air. Switched when we moved to Denver. I probably would have had to go that route as well. I don't know what his dad's name is, but maybe it was also Spencer.
That's funny. Remember, my fake radio name was Dan Stevens.
Such a porno name. It's so porno-y. I'm Dan Stevens. Really, Dan. The fake name bit kills me. Kills me.
Well, Stephen Woods is pretty solid.
Is it?
I mean, Ben Higgins is fine.
It's a great one.
Fine, but they told us specifically, for whatever reason, you can't use your real name. We're like feeding some sort of news stories to a competing network, and we were all told, news and traffic people, that
make
you can't
up your
use
name.
your real name, so you have to make up a new name. And so I just went with Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens. It's so generic and porno-y.
I wasn't intending it for it to be like a forever new name. It was simply
how uncomfortable
like for
did it
a
make
couple
you?
of month period. Yeah, it was weird. I'm Dan Stevens.
You would do like
it was news,
like
news new radio news reports for some other station.
It's so obvious. There's not even a real person named Dan Stevens. If I met a Dan,
he would have probably changed his name to like Ben Higgins.
Yes, just changed his name to Spencer Soysher. Dan Stevens. How long did that take you to come up with?
5 seconds.
5 seconds. I'm Stonewood.
First thing that just popped into my head. My middle name is Steven. My dad's name is Steven. So I thought, well, Stevens.
Steven Dan would be better.
And Dan, Ben. I mean, people oftentimes when I say, what's your name? Ben. Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Order for Dan.
Yeah.
That's for me, I'm sure.
I
Because
told
they
you.
don't hear it correctly.
I've been Scott. Most of my Scotty, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, Stephen Woods. That is solid. Sturdy, if you will.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Spencer, thanks for tuning in this morning and sharing with your family.
Spencer Soysher, everybody.
Saturday, Padres finally held the makeup from their spring breakout prospect game against the Mariners after it was rained out before just when they left for Korea. I had a lot of offense in that game. A couple of home runs from Tirso Ornelas and a home run from Nathan Martorella. Robbie Snelling pitched 4 innings and allowed 1 run. Things were going really well. They were up like 8-zip or something. And then Dylan Lesko had a rough day. Could not find home plate.
Yeah.
Walked 6 guys in 1 inning.
That's a tough scene.
Gave up 7 runs. It doesn't affect his status as a prospect at all. It was just happened to be a bad day. So
no, they cut him, actually, after the game.
Yeah, they did. It was done. And the Mariners came all the way back, but then the Padres ended up on the Martorella home run, I think, going back ahead and winning that game 13-10 in the Project Spring Breakout Showcase game on Saturday at the Peoria Sports Complex.
Yeah, one of the things I saw was Leodales Debris, Ben. Guy's 17 years old, gets into that game, had a RBI single, walked twice, hit by a pitch. He was on base 4 times. The at-bat that they showed, he looked like a veteran. It was crazy, not swinging at pitches out of the zone. It's pretty impressive
For
stuff.
a 17-year-old not to be, and Ethan Salas does this as well, not be over-eager, jumpy. Jackson Merrill at 20.
Dude,
just
yes.
in the at-bats we've seen so far. The guy is the opposite of jumpy at the plate.
Yeah.
It's very
natural
impressive.
to be.
I mean, you got guys who are, in their 30s in Major League Baseball and still get a little jumpy at times at the plate. And you're seeing these young kids in the Padres system with so much poise.
Yeah,
now,
pretty cool.
Doesn't guarantee success, but it certainly is one of the building blocks to being a successful Major League hitter.
Going about your business the right way.
It is.
At the plate and in life. But I thought it was really impressive. And it was good to see Robbie Snelling shove. And I'm bummed for Dylan Lesko. I know they're very high on him, and I think they should be, but everybody's going to have crap days, in that sport.
Before we get to the Reindl Report, college basketball news, Jeff Goodman breaking. The Washington Huskies hiring Utah State's Danny Sprinkle as their new head coach. So Sprinkle, a one and done, comes into Utah State with no returning players, brings in some transfers, wins the conference, gets to the second round of the NCAA tournament, parlays that into a better paying job, and Utah State has to start over again. That's the hard part of being a true middle major type school, that now they got to start over again and find a new head coach. But that news just in this morning from college basketball. Paulie?
And get things started here with our Today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. Good morning, my friends.
Thanks.
We will start off in college football. Deion Sanders had a clip going around from a podcast. Wanted to get you guys' opinion. Now, I think Deion Sanders is a very good dad. He loves his children.
He ranks his kids.
Which I think is amazing.
It's if you look at it as if you don't know, if you just you want to judge him, you're like, what are you doing? But if you look at it as the bit that it is, it's a pretty good bit.
I think he's a really good dad. I think he's a really good coach. He's somebody that if I had a kid who was going to play college football, I'd want Deion Sanders to coach my son.
There's some wisdom in there.
Yeah, he's got
to
a lot
be
of
sure.
wisdom,
There's some wisdom.
However, he went on a podcast recently, and he got a little Archie Manning vibes.
Oh, no.
He even kind of references Eli, or one of the podcasters did. I'll let it play for itself here and get you guys' opinions. He's talking about his sons possibly going into the draft.
Where do you predict Shapiro and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4.
Ooh, that's pretty beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be 1.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to be
speaking
one.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because I know where I want them to go. And let's not forget Shallow, okay? But I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't going to happen.
Okay, you won't point.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, it's going to be an Eli.
Gonna be an Eli.
It's gonna be an Eli. Oh God, man.
Oh, it's like up until that last part, I was like, oh no, don't say it. Don't do it. He's totally entitled to feel that way, but I guess saying it publicly is a little interesting to me.
Bro, just give me the old we'll see. We'll let the chips fall where they may. You hate to hear if we don't like it, we're going to pull an Eli Manning. Think about Eli Manning and how he's regarded here in San Diego, and how his family's looked at a lot of times. But I think he's got delusions of grandeur if he thinks Shapiro Sanders is going anywhere in the top 4. Travis Hunter is a really interesting player, but there's a lot that has to happen.
By the way,
Deion's drifting a little more into LeVar Ball territory.
Yes.
You don't want to drift into LeVar Ball territory.
Don't go full ball.
Don't go full ball.
Go
now on an unrelated point. I don't know what podcast that was, Paulie.
It was the $1 million worth of game.
We need to have a guy who just goes, whenever we make a good point.
That's
like
me.
Like
I'll
he
do
did.
that.
We got a lot of that. Deion would say something, and someone would just jump in with, I like that.
For the record, Archie Manning and Eli Manning, they were right.
Yeah, they were right. Yeah, they made the right decision.
They were right.
Yeah,
about the Spanoses.
Yeah, it's true.
Worked out pretty well for Eli.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, you're good at that.
Yeah, thanks.
Ben, that's your new role.
Read the liners and do the and then you're off the hook.
Thanks, I like that. Can I make my whole salary just for doing that? That's awesome.
All right, this is kind of fitting because I already forgot how to say this kid's name. The sharpshooter from Oakland, Jack Golke.
Yeah.
He got an NIL deal after his impressive night on Thursday night, I believe, was their opening game where he hit 10 threes.
Yep.
And he posted on social media over the weekend a very short video. And let me pull it up here for you.
I like that kid.
I just love when it's one big game, and you know who knows how much money he made, but here's his new NIL sponsorship.
Me and my team hit the next round by making all our moves count, just like TurboTax, who makes all your off-court moves count this tax season.
He is literally in like a hotel ballroom with a basketball, pretending to shoot a basketball, and he did a quick 10-second video for TurboTax.
Milk it, baby.
Yes.
Milk it dry.
Absolutely.
Milk it.
I mean, we can't all be Caitlin Clark in our State Farm commercials, but
milk it.
Yeah, I mean, this is your chance here. He's not going to the NBA. He will be forgotten in a few months.
Yeah.
So every opportunity you've got right now, you take it.
Absolutely, I love it.
Goalkey. It's like goalkeeper, but just goalkey, and you stop. Goalkey.
All right, and then finally, got another sequel in the mix. We talked about Happy Gilmore 2 on Friday, very briefly. That looks like everything is happening.
Moving along.
Adam Sandler working on a script already. And one of my all-time favorite movies from Jack Black would be School of Rock. Jack Black says he is ready for a School of Rock sequel.
Okay, into it.
I don't know how I feel about it. We'll see.
The one stipulation is that, remember his buddy Ned? His goobery buddy Ned? Well, that guy is Mike White, who wrote White Lotus. And he is a genius, like an absolute walking genius. That's Mike White.
Okay.
And Jack said, I will absolutely do it, but only if Mike White writes it.
Yes.
Now, he's got his hands full with White Lotus, which is just...
Is there another season coming of White Lotus?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
It's just the greatest. It is just the greatest
Jack Black
show.
said Mike White, Jack Black.
Genius.
Pretty good combo right there. Mike White wrote the first one. He's a genius. We'd have to have Mike White back in the saddle, but he's real busy right now with the White Lotus, the best show on TV. Jack Black was doing an interview, and I guess his face lit up when he was even approached with the idea of a sequel for School of Rock.
Watched it.
It's already got a name: School of Rock 2: Electric Boogaloo.
All the way in. I watched it this weekend with the kids again, and we went right in. As soon as it's got this effect, man. We watched it. And they both wanted to go jam. And then we fired up the keyboards and the electric guitars and went in and jammed, and it was just...
So get off your ass, let's do some math.
He's so good.
Math.
I love him very much. I just feel like he's a guy I would want to spend time with. He's just ultra positive and always makes me laugh. And I love that movie, and it's so good for kids.
He's such a good dude, it seems like,
and
by all accounts.
I loved the premise of teaching these kids about good, real rock and roll music. I thought it was brilliant, and loved it. Don't do this. I will kill you.
Thank you, Paulie. Good job. We've got some comedy tickets to give away. Tom Segura is coming to Pechanga Arena. Big show later this year. Tickets are going on sale this Friday, but we're going to give you an early chance to win a pair. Coming up in our next segment. Do not go away. It's Ben and Woods. We'll be back after traffic right here on 97.3 The Fan.
You know, one thing we failed to mention this morning, Benjamin.
We failed to mention more than one thing.
That's true. It's true. We've been busy today.
I mean, I could try to guess what we failed to
Go
mention.
ahead.
We did not mention that the San Diego Wave lost their opener to the Kansas City Current in front of a crowd of more than 32,000.
What a scene.
At Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday night.
Get out there. I would love to go to a Wave match.
2-1 loss, but the prospects are good this season. They got another home game this Friday. We didn't mention that the Sockers split a pair of games on the road on Friday and Saturday, but they're heading toward the playoffs. They got their regular season home finale against Tacoma this Saturday. And we didn't mention
you're 0 for 2 so far.
USA's big 2-0 Dos a 0 win over Mexico in the Nations League final at AT&T Stadium in Dallas on goals by Tyler Adams and Gio Reyna. Like real professional-looking goals, like the kinds you get in European soccer, like long strikes into the back of the net. Not like American goals, which are like headed off 7 people and sometimes bounce into the net. I feel like those are American soccer goals. These were more like cool European soccer goals. None of those things.
So there was none of those.
Okay.
I did see, every time that Mexico and U.S. plays, it's like spicy. It's spicy.
And we always win 2-0.
It was cool. Very, very spicy again on the timeline last night. And I saw it and I went, whew, boy, maybe we could have a match without like an international incident for once between these two teams. But apparently that is too much to ask for. And they had to stop the game again because of the chant that Mexico does. And it's I was texting buddies about it. And I was like, what do you do about this? Just really nothing you can do.
Not much.
There's not much you can do.
There's a big, giant border between the two countries.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of tension. Not like we're about to go to war, but
Right.
certainly a lot of political implications and stuff. It's always going to be a spicy rivalry.
Always, yep. No, but we had played the clips of Peter Seidler's memorial earlier today. We did not put the clip of A.J. Preller in, casually dropping Roki Sasaki's name in the middle of his speech.
My theory.
What was
my
your
big theory from earlier this offseason?
What was the context of it?
So,
okay,
so Paulie's going to pull it up, but AJ essentially, and if you missed my theory, let me go through that while Paulie pulls up the clip. So my theory, part of it, that the Padres cut back in spending this offseason, in addition to just being, kind of pushed by Major League Baseball and getting in compliant with the debt service rules, is that the Padres want to make a full play for Roki Sasaki, the phenom pitcher from Japan, who is rumored to be coming over to the United States Shohei Ohtani style next year, where he'll be eligible for the international signings and not like the Yamamoto $325 million, but only within that bonus where you sign him and you got control for 6 years, potentially like the next great phenom prospect that could immediately plug in to the top half of your starting rotation right away in Major League Baseball. And the Padres want to get under the luxury tax because if you're over it, you get penalized on your international signing money, and they want to have as much possible to try to sign him. So here's what AJ happened to say during.
He said this, and I looked around. I go, did he just?
I heard it.
Anybody else hear that?
I had Shelly next to me, and I go, that name doesn't mean anything to her, but I'm going, he just said Roki Sasaki.
He especially loved to talk about the future and to hear about players like Ethan Salas or guys down the road like a Roki Sasaki. And he's really jazzed up thinking about the pursuit of other excellent players to add to the Padre family.
Down the road, guys like Roki Sasaki. I mean, that's a bold proclamation.
I legitimately was like, is he going to get in trouble for that?
No,
tampering.
Tampering?
I don't know. It's international. I don't know what the rules are.
You can want anybody that you want.
Are you tipping your hands? Not really. Everyone knows, of course, that AJ and everybody's going to be in on Roki Sasaki.
Anybody with international bonus pool money wants Roki Sasaki.
Padres have gotten the number one prospect each of the last 2 years, in Ethan Salas and Leo DeVries. Can they make it 3 for 3? Well,
the answer is yes. It's a hard yes.
Part of my offseason theory was also the extension for Yu Darvish, which seemed a little excessive in terms of years for a pitcher who's going to be well into his 40s, was also targeted toward Roki Sasaki. Yu Darvish is his mentor and his hero. And, Yu has hooked him up with Padres gear. He's been seen in Padres gear before. And while none of this is a surprise that AJ would be interested and going after Roki Sasaki if he does come out, which is, reportedly in Japan is almost like this is the idea with his team. He's going to play one more year in Japan and come out. It's just the way he said it on Saturday.
Yeah, it's very confident.
Almost as if it was
like
kind of a done deal.
Foregone
conclusion.
Listen, one more time.
Guys down the road.
He especially loved to talk about.
Like, he might as well be Dylan Lesko, somebody already in the system.
He especially loved to talk about the future and to hear about players like Ethan Salas or guys down the road like a Roki Sasaki, and he got really jazzed up thinking about the pursuit of other excellent players to add to the Padre family.
I love it. And we're probably...
It's the pursuit. He said pursuit.
Sure.
Not the development, but the pursuit of players.
We're probably reading too much into it, which is fine. He could have absolutely said Leo Dallas de Bries. He could have also said Dylan Lesko and Robbie Snelling. You know, he was really excited about those guys, really high on the guys that we have down there.
Could have said Bo Woods.
Could have said Bo Woods
really
down the
deep
road.
into the future.
I mean, you could do a lot worse. The kid's a gamer. But I couldn't believe it when I saw people tweeting about it. I go, oh, I got to hear this. I got to hear this. He just casually drops it in. So yeah, I mean, obviously you'd be a buffoon not to be in on Roki Sasaki next year, and they're gonna have a time to make that happen. That would be pretty incredible. And hopefully he's better than Yamamoto's first start goals, because that was rough.
The reason why Sasaki would be a game changer is he wouldn't cost $325 million like Yamamoto.
Exactly
Once you
right.
sign him for whatever the international max would be, $5-6 million, he would make the minimum, like a rookie, first-year player, for 3 years. It'd be that, then arbitration for 3 years, and no free agency for 6 years, just like Ohtani with the Angels. And that allows you to basically have a superstar player who really doesn't count against the luxury tax at all. It's almost a loophole that shouldn't exist in Major League Baseball.
And they'll probably change it once the Padres land the 3 number ones in a row.
But right now, it's an area where AJ sees a possibility of working a little bit outside the margins where you can get an advantage on other teams, and he has done it. He got Ethan Salas, who hopefully will be contributing on the cheap for years to come. Leo DeVries the same, and could Roki Sasaki be the next up in the line for A.J. Preller on the international signings? The tarot cards, the tea leaves point toward yes.
And that's true. I mean, Satan's Blowfish makes a good point. He says, I don't think this is some 10D chess move. You was paid that way to keep his AAV down. I don't think there's high expectations he's going to pitch at 42. Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to extend him.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about the luxury tax.
Sure.
The longer the shorter. I mean, that's with Bogarts' deal. They were all part of it. But I think there could have been an ulterior motive as well.
Having him here still it does not hurt you in your pursuit of Roki Sasaki.
Knowing he'll be here for essentially the entire time that you'll be committed to being with the Padres would be big.
Yeah, I think it'd be huge. Excellent. Well, we mentioned it. They wanted it. We gave it to you just like that.
But I was surprised when I heard that name.
That is an interesting. That's
on
an
Saturday,
interesting,
just spoken out loud.
Casual drop in.
All right, Tom Segura is coming to Pechanga Arena. He'll be performing not until November, so we got a ways to go, but that doesn't mean you can't get your tickets now. November 8th is the date of the performance. Tickets go on sale this Friday at axs.com, but you can win a pair right now from Ben & Woods if you call 833-288-0973. Sixth caller, go to the bottom of our list. Sixth caller wins 833-288-0973. Tom Segura, November 8th at Pechanga Arena. Seems like this is a very popular one as I see our lines going
Already
crazy
full.
right
Good Lord.
away. People trying to win those Tom Segura comedy tickets at Pechanga Arena later this year.
Beautiful.
All right, we've got one segment left. Get you ready for Annie and Elston. Some final thoughts on the Aztecs and the celebration of life for Peter Seidler. And then looking ahead, opening day coming up this Thursday with Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. Sometimes I see the YouTube chatters complain that when we give away a prize, they feel like they're on a delay, so they don't get a chance to win. So I'm happy to see the Goozinator, one of our regulars in the YouTube stream, win the Tom Segura tickets. Congratulations. We will have more to give away this week.
Yeah, I believe all week.
All week long. So keep tuning in. And it could be at different times during the morning. So you got to listen all 4 hours.
Keep tuned
to make sure that you have a chance to win those Tom Segura tickets.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Keep tuned.
People were very excited about those.
Shout out to our pal Mike. It's his birthday as well. One of our most active tier ones on Twitter, at the bone of my sword. Good dude. Great Padres takes. And big fan of his. So happy birthday, pal. Says it's waking up in the first year of my 30s. What I wouldn't do to be back in the first year of my 30s with what I know now. My body is falling apart. Took the kids on a hike yesterday. And by hike, man, I mean walking around a flat area for a distance. There's no slope at all. Maybe up a tiny little bridge and then down. But it's down by the lagoons.
What's the toughest hike you've ever been on?
Zion.
Zion. Did you go up the
Angels, Land,
the Narrows,
Devils,
or whatever it's called?
So I did the Narrows,
river.
which was awesome. It's flat,
we
but it's also
went to
fun.
Zion, but the kids were too small to do that.
So I did that, and I did Angels Landing or Devil's Palace, whatever it's called, like the really.
It's a very different thing, I'm sure.
I can't remember. Angels Landing, I think it's called, or Devil's Crossing. So I can't remember what it was called, but it almost killed me.
Sounds like every other major, intense hike.
So it sucked. It sucked.
Devil's Punch Bowl.
But my buddies I went with, they weren't really experienced either, and we just stopped every 15 minutes and ate oranges and drank juices and stuff, and then kept going, and we took our time. Get to the top, the views were unbelievable. But the Narrows is the coolest hike I've ever done, bar none. Through the water, big sticks, walking through, taking little jaunts off to the side. It was incredible. But I took the kids to the lagoon yesterday down off Birmingham, and it's flat. It's just you walk around, and we got done, and I got home. I was like, my hips are hurting. I gotta go back to QC Kinetics to get my hips worked on.
The most intense hike I've ever gone on was I think way out east. It's called Three Sisters Waterfalls or whatever. And I went right around.
That sounds like a fun one.
Yeah. Went out right around this time of year. Like there was just a big rainstorm, so the waterfalls were very full, and they were like, "This is the time to go." Oh my God, I was out of commission for like 4 days.
People sign up for that.
But when there's a
pleasure, my back
when there's
hurt.
a prize at the end, like a waterfall, or I don't know, people do potato chip rock in the East County.
Yeah.
It'd be better if they had actual potato chips up there. It would get me to go up
there was
and
like a
do
sand wall that you had to climb with like a rope.
Forget it.
Climb all the way up to get up there.
I was surprised. One of the toughest ones, and we're not huge hikers, but a couple of years ago we went to Elfin Forest, going down whatever that Harmony Grove Road, and then we walked all the way up, back and forth, the switchback to get to the very top, and then around the Olevenheim Dam and Reservoir, which is at the top. And it ended up being we went 5 to 7 miles by the time it was done. A lot of up and down, back and forth, rugged kind of terrain. It was a tough hike, though.
Yeah, dude.
For non-professional hikers like we are.
My hips, I was like, this is terrible. So I laid in bed last night and watched the Aztecs with my massage gun on my hips. I need to get some body work done on this body that doesn't do a lot, but really nice, fun day hiking with walking. I walked. I essentially just walked. I could have done the same thing around the neighborhood. There was no hills, anything like that.
I mean, when I carry my own golf bag up and down Goat Hill Park, does that count as a hike as well, as a golf round? Because I do that all the time.
Depends on who you ask. I would say yes.
Yeah, I would too, actually.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Celebrate and save at Ashley's anniversary sale with hot buys. Your choice of colors starting at just $399. Ashley Sleep mattresses starting at $250. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases only at Ashley. All right, we were going to check traffic. We'll come back and wrap things up, get you ready for Annie and Elston and opening day on Thursday, all coming up here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Still a few problems wrapping up our morning drive. Northbound side of the 805 before H Street. We have reports of some debris in the slow lane. Up ahead past El Cajon Boulevard, there is a collision involving a trouble vehicles, everything's over the right shoulder. Tow truck is on scene assisting with that. Stalled car partially blocking the College Avenue off-ramp westbound 8 and on eastbound 8 just before College. There is a collision involving several vehicles. That is over to the right shoulder. And I want to give a big thank you to the 62.9% of our listeners who voted for me for the 5th annual Tournament of Drops. That was such a fun conversation I had with you guys on Friday. Thank you again. I'm honored. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Couple of baseball notes. Congratulations to our buddy, former Padre Matt Strahm, who agreed to a contract extension with the Phillies through the 2025 season with another 2026 vesting option. Last time we talked to him, he talked about kind of settling down and buying a house and putting down some roots. It's hard to do as a baseball player without a lot of job security, but now he's got at least a couple of seasons of job security with the Philadelphia Phillies, and happy for Matt and good for him that he's going to get a chance to play not only for make some money, but play for a team that should be in contention here for the next couple of years.
Well, he texted me last year. I've never done drugs, but I have to imagine that adrenaline is what it feels like pitching in the postseason because it's my new drug. And yeah, I mean, with the Phillies, you're always going to be in it, and he's going to have plenty of chance for some big opportunities. And Matty always talks about how he's like, I was like an 82nd round draft pick. I don't even remember. It was really, 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 really low draft pick. And he goes, every day that I get to be in a big league uniform is insane to me.
He said, I have no business.
I have no business. Like, this is crazy. Left-handed pitchers is pretty clutch. So congrats to Matty. He deserves it. He's one of those guys, in my opinion, that gets it. And very, very happy for him and his family.
643rd pick overall.
Good Lord.
21st round of the 2012 draft by the Kansas City Royals.
It's unbelievable, man. And
He
look at him now.
received a $100,000 signing bonus.
He's going to be making like $7-8 million a year. So good for him. Very, very cool.
We also, while we were at the Peter Seidler celebration of life on Saturday, another Major League Baseball owner passed away. Peter Angelos, longtime owner of the Baltimore Orioles, died at the age of 94. Now, he hasn't been in control of the team. He's been ill for many years, and his son, John, was in charge of the team. And, of course, they're selling the Orioles now, and that was Peter's wishes. So I think his kids didn't fight over the team. He just thought, let's just sell it. And they did make that decision in the last few months and had that investment group that's coming in and purchasing the Baltimore Orioles. But Peter Angelos, who I think had the ups and downs and, had some good and some bad, I think, in his tenure as Orioles owner. Certainly wasn't as beloved as Peter Seidler, but had some great moments as well. Did pass away at the age of 94 over the weekend.
Did you see their service time manipulation of one Jackson
Holiday?
And which is crazy. Had a monster spring and is a really good player.
Thought about making it a don't do this today, but
and it's all the Orioles fans. They said in only typical Orioles fashion. You win 100 games last year, and you get bounced from the playoffs. You don't win a game in the playoffs, but you go out and you add Craig Kimbrell and you add Corbin Burns, and the fever pitch for this team has never been higher. And what do you got? You sell the team to this wealthy investment group. Everyone in Baltimore losing their minds. Jackson Holiday, we'll see in 3 weeks, manipulating his service time. I mean, in a blatant display of it. And again, there's always ways around it. They can say, we didn't think he was quite ready and whatever.
I saw the Brewers. I think it was officially announced that Jackson Churio is going to be on the roster, and he's
the one they extended.
Yep, exactly.
And
they extended him to a 6-7-year deal.
Don't have to worry about
don't have to worry about manipulation.
But I did also see, and Nikki, who used to work for the Padres and now works for the Rangers, posted the behind-the-scenes video of the Rangers promoting Wyatt Langford and Bruce Bochy and Chris Young in the office with the camera, letting him know that he's made the major league roster and will start the season.
Pretty cool for you, man. That's great. I watched the whole thing
very,
too.
Very Boch, just understated. It wasn't.
I mean, and you think about it too. He goes, "It is crazy. Last year you were playing for the Gators, and now you're at the big league." I mean, the guy was in college last year. He's a stud, by the way. Wyatt Langford. Again, if they're ready, let's let them play. I mean, a lot of these guys are going to be the future of baseball. And Jackson Holiday. And again, the Orioles fans making the point of we are so ready. The vibes in Baltimore have never been higher. You're doing everything right. And then you go and do this, and everyone's just like, oh, God, same old Orioles. So, people were making the point, Yeah, he needs a little more seasoning. My guess is about, I don't know, 3 weeks of seasoning, and it's just so blatantly embarrassing when they do that.
Meanwhile, Jackson Merrill has already officially made his debut and gotten his first couple of hits. It's going to hit a little different on Thursday when he's introduced in front of the crowd, sellout crowd at Petco Park, and being a Major League Baseball player in the United States for the first time. And boy, nothing seems to faze that kid at all. I mean, he doesn't even really seem to get that excited about anything. He's so level-headed and so got a good head on his shoulders. I can't imagine there's any person alive that's not going to get a little weak-kneed and feel some chills, though, as they're running out. And if he's batting ninth like he did the first 2 days of the year, think about it. It'll be opening day, and they'll introduce Mike Schilt, and then they'll introduce the lineup. And, Xander will come out, and Tatis, and Crony, and Manny, and Kim, and down the line. And they'll all be there. And then it'll be Jackson who will walk out and get to, dapped up, high fives with all of those guys as he comes out number 9 and takes his spot down the first base line on Thursday. I mean, what a moment for a 20-year-old kid.
Bro, it's so different doing it over in Korea. It just is. And, of course, you're nervous. You have nerves. But that feels, even though the game's counted and you're 1-1 in the standings, you have a batting average now and you have an OBP and everything else, Ben, it's not real for him until it happens here with the team he's going to be playing
I think
with.
So.
And it was almost an exhibition game that counted, and I'm so elated for him and hope he has a monster day. I hope he takes Logan Webb yard and hits one off of his little chubby calves and just takes it to him. But no, I'm excited for him and all the guys, and the final roster, is it not out? It doesn't have to be out.
The final 26-man roster was announced last week. They can make changes.
Yeah.
Obviously, before Game 3, just like they can before any game of the year. But
which they will.
Yeah, technically, they have to. They have to put Dylan Cease on the roster because he was on the taxi squad, and Waldron was on the taxi squad. Avila was on the taxi squad. I don't know if he's definitely making the 26-man or not, but they're definitely going to have to make some changes. And if you're Stephen Kolek or Adrian Morejon, you're certainly not feeling completely secure about your spot on the roster just because you were in the first 2 games in Korea. So we'll find out about that, I assume, on Thursday morning before the Padres play their first game. We will find out tonight. We'll get to see Dylan Cease. Padres playing the Mariners at 6:40 here on 97.3 The Fan at Petco Park. And they will play again tomorrow afternoon when Michael King, I think, takes the mound, which means you've kind of got your rotation set. Now, Mike Schilt has not announced. Still could be Yu Darvish or Joe Musgrove for Thursday. There was some thought that they might flip it, and since they gave Yu the opening day start in Korea, they may give Joe the opening day start in San Diego, or they could just keep it on track. But whatever it does the first 2 games, it looks pretty clear that Dylan Cease will start on Saturday in Game 3, and Michael King will start on Sunday in Game 4 of the series against the Giants, and then the Cardinals come to town Monday, and I would think that would be Matt Waldron then on Monday, but none of this has been officially announced by Mike Schilt yet. Yu was okay, and Joe wasn't great. Does that factor into any of it for you, or does it not matter at this point? They're your guys either way.
Either or. They're going 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
would you do?
I'd probably flip it just to.
I'd give it to Joe, I think.
So it seems like you're not playing favorites for either one. You gets one, Joe gets the other.
And you started opening day before.
As long as they're on
Joe
track.
Never has? Yeah.
Joe did, but it was the COVID year.
COVID year.
And Joe started the
2022 against the Braves, the home opener.
But it wasn't. Was it? Yeah, it was the home opener. It wasn't opening day though. They started on the road.
That's right.
Of course, this isn't opening day either. But he has started the home opener.
Okay.
We crushed the Braves.
Yeah, that was a good day. Good day.
There. Good one.
Yeah.
Where did we broadcast from that day?
Happy Does.
That's how I remember them. It was the first Happy Does.
Yeah.
Out on the street, not up on the stage. Okay. And, of course, this Thursday will be at Rick's Baja Cantina even closer to the ballpark. If you're making your way down there, make plans to join us early, starting at 6 a.m. with breakfast and our live broadcast from 6 to 10, and then Annie and Elston from 10 to noon. Our opening day live broadcast this Thursday from Baja Rick's Cantina, 6th and L, I believe it is, right by the gas lamp, right next to the Omni there, downtown San Diego. Really terrific San Diego location. It is brought to you by Blue Moon. Celebrate responsibly.
I'm going to celebrate very responsibly.
Well, it's going to be a long day. So we're up downtown.
Yeah, Padres better win flawlessly.
You're staying downtown,
right?
Come
in very
I'll be so
angry.
fussy again.
So you're staying down there. You get up, make your way down to Baja Rick's, do the show.
Yeah.
Then a couple of hours to kill. I got live shots on Channel 10 starting at 11 a.m. atop the Marriott. And then we got the game from 1 to like 4-ish. And then after the game, 4:39, Aztecs in the Sweet 16. And then I've got more TV all evening and back to Channel 10. That is going to be one long sports Thursday for all of us.
Mrs. Woods said that she goes, yeah, we can go to the Padres game and then maybe we'll go watch the game, in our hotel room. And I said, okay, fine. I don't know if it will be on, but I can watch it on my phone. And so, yeah, definitely. I don't know that I can pull the all-dayer 5:30 a.m. till 8 at night out watching sports all day.
Depends on how long I stay. I don't know that I'll stay for the whole Padres game. I usually leave in like the 7th, but that's usually to beat traffic, and we're also staying downtown.
Yeah, you're staying down there,
so
too.
it's a short walk. I would love to at least pop into a bar on the way out.
To watch some of the Aztecs.
Watch a little bit of the first half, I think.
I think it'd be cool.
I think it'd be fun, man.
Yeah.
You don't get that experience too often.
It's very, very true. Very, very true. I'm excited. It should be a great, great day.
Should the
on
Padres
Thursday.
just keep it open and put it on the
Somebody said
Jumbotron?
that. Somebody suggested.
On Gallagher Square, on the TV out at Gallagher Square, and let people stick around and watch the Aztecs.
Good
game.
way to keep asses in the seats all day, right? But then, you don't.
But you want to make. Then you got to keep the staff that's been there all day and stuff. The
Not fair to
logistics are
them.
probably challenging for that. So I'm throwing that out there. I don't think anyone should have the expectation that could happen. I mean, could you make it happen if you moved some heaven and earth? Yeah, probably. I don't know that it's necessary. Everyone's going to have a spot that they can watch the Aztecs game. It's on TBS, I believe, is the Aztecs on Thursday.
Prolific says, "Come on, Woods, you can do it." Yeah, I can. I can do it. But I don't necessarily think I would be at my best on Friday, which is what I like to be. I like to try to be at my best. My best isn't that great, so I needed to be the very best I can be. It's going to be a fun one, though. I mean, you can't really complain about all the fun that we are going to have, and hopefully culminates with a couple of huge wins. One more significant than the other, certainly, with the Aztecs game. So if you had to pick
But there are
one,
no insignificant Padres games.
No,
We've
there's
already
not.
said
it's
that,
not
but
early. Remember, it's not early.
If you had to pick one,
If you had to pick one, you take
it's
the Aztecs,
win or go
right.
home game rather than game 3 of 162.
I don't know.
for sure.
That game against the Giants is must win, in my opinion. Bob Melvin coming back in, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish on the mound. It's must win for me. It's not early. Remember, we can't say that this year. It is not early. It is not a marathon. It is, in fact, a 160-game sprint from here on
You
out.
want to take Danny Hurley down a peg or two.
100%. That would be epic.
Yeah.
Poor UConn. The world is against them. Big Dodger vibes.
I saw him
there.
play in high school. I feel really old.
Danny
both
Hurley?
him and his brother both came to Torrey Pines when I was a student to play in the high school, the Christmas tournament with St. Anthony, where their dad, Bob, was the legendary high school coach
Did
there.
you call the game?
I did. I
You
was the
did?
PA announcer
Look at you.
for both of them when they came to town to play in
You're
that
an
Christmas tournament.
Old turd now.
And
It's
now
amazing.
he's a national championship winning coach and trying to win back-to-back titles with the UConn Huskies.
Beautiful.
All right, that is it for us today. Good start to what is a very big sports week here in San Diego. Great job by our executive producer and imaging director, Paul Reindl. For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Annie and Elston are coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. You're on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.